conversation is going to start either. We might just
You never do know. I like
yeah,
surprising. Like, it could be any time. You could just be halfway through saying the N-word.
Yeah.
You could be.
I don't think it really surprises them because a notification pops up in the middle of the screen saying "broadcast is live," and then you're just like, "Hey!"
That assumes you're paying attention, which not everybody is. But yeah. Well, hello, chat. Hope you're all well. Sorry for the delay, but we're taking inspiration from our friends at Friday Night Tides. So they were half an hour late last week. What day are we? Monday last week. Half an hour.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're too bad.
Like a live thing with the Rippaverse stuff, I think.
They were, yeah. It was funny to watch them try and struggle with technology, but no such issues here because we have none of that. But yeah, welcome. Apologies in advance. You will hear my fan all the way through because it is baking over in this country at the moment, and my computer is dying. But as per usual, we have assembled YouTube's greatest minds, and we have some things to be talking about. So Cynic is here, fresh from avoiding accidents on the interstate. We have DarkHour, who's fresh from his open bar debut. We have actually Andrew with us. We have Backface with us, and to announce the launch, or to re-announce the launch of their new comic, we have the guys from Desolate Soul Studios, John and Jay. So thank you all very, very much for being here.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I should say as well, after this stream, Cynic and I are off to another stream because I don't actually sleep. It's a
Andrew too.
Yeah, Andrew's coming as well. We will be off to the Canoli Sasquatch channel to be streaming about Batman v Superman: Dawn of Mechness, which I had just finished watching 2 minutes before we got here. Dawn of Justice. That's I haven't seen it. I hadn't seen it until I think I'd seen it the one time when it was out at the cinema, and I hadn't seen it since. So this is the first time I've rewatched it, and my God, that's those are some impressive plot holes there.
I forgot a lot of it before I watched it again. It was like a couple years since I watched it, and then I watched it, and I'm remembering like the key segments of bad plot that I specifically remember, and I'm like, how do they fill this time? It's like 3 hours long, and then they just fill it with slow-mo. And I was just like,
Zack Snyder film. What did you expect?
Don't forget who it is.
And I have notes, and I told Cynic, I was like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I just forgot all of these? And I'm looking at this. This looks like it was written by a schizophrenic. I don't know what any of these mean. I just wrote down hacking. That's one of the
I saw some of the notes. They're pretty good.
Those are always the best notes. The ones you can't remember what you were trying to say to yourself are the best notes.
That's why I write everything down.
On the Wonder Woman music also from 300.
Oh, and the Snyder cut of Justice League. I think it plays like probably a total of like 27 minutes. They play that song. It's like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's and that's impressive considering the fact it's only like an 8-second snippet of a song.
Kal-El, no.
Listen, she may be a bad actress, but man, her plot is good if you know what I mean.
she has assets. Yeah, that's true.
Listen, I watched Dawn of Justice for the plot. All right, that's what I was watching it for.
Oh God.
You could just look at pictures of her and not have to watch the movie, right? Like, it's not a requirement.
That is true. It makes it more enjoyable.
Same mouth there. Yeah, good question. Anyway, we're saving our ammunition for that one because we're going to be streaming about it after this. And if I would drop a link in the chat, but if I do it, then my little avatar dude will start wearing glasses and stuff. So
I can grab it. I got it.
Cynic can do that. And that's good.
I got it.
We are here to talk about other more recent things than that. And I figured because it's the most recent thing out, and because I know Cynic is just really, really looking forward to talking about Transformers, that we might kick off with Transformers. So who here has seen the film?
I have.
I actually messaged Cynic earlier, like, do I need to watch this? Like, is it required? And he was basically like, if I have to, you have to.
I asked him, I'm like, hey, do they kill Bumblebee again? I was just like straight up. Like, hey, did they like mess with Bumblebee again? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go see.
Time he died.
I'm gonna go see Spider-Man again.
Yep. Yeah. So I saw it. So I've had a really bad day so far, and it's started with my Transformers video, which is now re-uploaded. Everybody, I posted it once, and then the first thing I've discovered about Transformers is it is incredible the amount of people that are willing to die on the hill of Transformers 7. Apparently, Transformers 7 is not a bad movie, according to comments I've gotten. It's actually very okay, and I am a complete piece of shit for telling anyone that it's not okay, that it's bad.
It's very.
You
okay.
are
No one
dumb.
even said that it was like really great. Like if someone to me was like, if they came to me and were like, "Hey, The Godfather is a terrible movie," I'd be like, "What the fuck?" But what people in my comments have come to is, it was like totally okay. What's your problem? Like, that's the consensus.
Trust me, he's got more problems than just the Transformers. But
yeah, but yeah, there are a lot of people that are willing to die on the hill that is Transformers 7, because that's a thing nowadays. The movie is not good. It's the exact same plot as every other Transformers movie. I even list all of the MacGuffins because all they do in every movie is there's a MacGuffin. Both the good and bad bots want it. Humans get caught in the middle. Hijinks ensue. Optimus Prime says, "Die," and then the movie ends.
I'll kill them all.
Oh yeah, and Bumblebee's in it, and he either gets incapacitated or captured. The audience goes, "Oh man," and then he gets freed later on.
Giga Chad?
Come
on.
Gets freed later on, and then everyone's like, "Yay, Bumblebee!" And
I want him to
that's
be cool.
again, that's
Let
the
him be
movie.
cool.
that was like the most when he like came back to it was like such a like, I'm down, and then I'm on a plane, and then I'm killing everybody. There was like no like semblance of the time it took him to recover. He was basically out for a good like quarter of the movie, if not a third of the movie, and then all of a sudden he's just like akimboing like everything off of the jumping off the back of like a B-52 bomber.
Yeah,
like it's like,
cool.
how'd you even get to that?
That was literally the only cool part of the movie. IMO was like the Bumblebee shot of him jumping out. I was like,
yeah, I
cool.
thought that was
Ah,
really cool.
It was cool
Neurons
looking. It made no sense.
Only cool. Yeah, yeah.
But this movie goes exactly the same as Fast and Furious. It's a cash grab. They're all the same stories, same action, same exaggerated action. And I don't know why people think these are great movies when they're not. They're terrible.
That
There's no
ironically was a comment in Movie Cynic's comment section. Well, the video had to be removed for reasons we'll come back to. But there actually was a comment saying this is a film designed for people who think the Fast and Furious movies are good. And
Oh, okay. There you go.
In defense, I watched Fast X because it came out. It already came out on the internet, so I definitely watched it in a legal form, and I liked it more than I like Transformers. Jason Momoa is beyond entertaining in that movie. It's at least it's an easy watch. Like while I'm watching it, I'm aware that there's giant plot holes in fast movies, but I'm like, you're doing cool enough shit with your cars that I can let it slide. With Transformers, it was just like I've seen you transform so many times. It looks shittier than it did in the first movie somehow. Like in the first movie, I remember seeing Transformers transform, and I was like, holy shit. Like so much effort and thought went into it, and now it's just like a couple pieces move and they're a person.
They sped it up. Like the reason why it looked so cool in the first couple movies was because you saw the details of it actually, like where this ended up and all of that. Whereas now they just do it so fast you don't even see it. It might as well be claymation. It's
so
just
lazy.
Like,
yeah, and especially in like the fourth one, they were just like, they're pixels now or something.
Which one was the fourth one again?
The one
Age of Extinction,
the one
right? With the
Age of Extinction with the
Dinobots,
dinosaurs,
which they ruined because Dinobots are cool.
Optimus has a sword. There's like a big army fat man with a big machine gun. I like that guy. And it had Bumblebee. That's about it. And they had the seat. Oh yeah, the bad guy in there was like kind of cool. It was like
the
this
Transformers
intergalactic collector, and I was like, that's a cool idea. I wish you did that better,
dude.
The Transformers movies.
No, go ahead, DarkHour. I was just going to say
the Transformers movies are starting to get to the point where it's like they have the continuity mess that was the X-Men films. Like where it's like there's a soft reboot in the middle, but it's connected, but it's not, and it's gotten to the point now where I'm like, where does this one slot in? This is in 1994. When was the first one? 2007.
Yeah,
like it's so weird the way that they're doing that. It's like, because originally it was supposed to be that Bumblebee started the Bumblebee movie started a whole new like continuity, but now but then they immediately like tore his voice box out. We're like, okay, he's the same Bumblebee. So it was like it screwed up the whole thing.
I cannot believe, like, when I made that review, I was like, oh, this is a safe opinion, honestly. Like no one actually thinks these movies are good. Wrong. A lot of people think these movies are good. And I was like, what is happening right now? I cannot believe that. Again, I hate repeating it, but I can't believe that people are willing to like, I think I lost like 30 subscribers in 15 minutes. Like, that's how many people got upset.
Deserved.
That's incredible.
That's
how dare you.
Fuck them.
Upset that I said Transformers 7 was shit. And then someone even said,
good job, boys.
They were like, you know, it would be really nice if you gave a positive review. And I was like, I don't determine if these movies are good or bad.
It would be really nice if the movie was good. How about that?
What are you talking about? Do you want me to just go into a movie with the assumption it's going to be good? It's terrible. I'm like, well, I'm going to think of what Joe X97 said, and I got to please him. Like,
Monkey
what the
robot,
fuck?
cool.
I don't know how you screw it up though. Like, you got a great character like Starscream that turns his back on Megatron all the time. You could have that in the story. Like, that could be part of the plot. You got the Autobots, and you can have the leader's name there, Optimus Prime. You can have him going through struggles. You could have so much going on there, but they just, I don't know what they're doing. Them and the Fast and Furious, they just throw a little tinsel and everyone just buys into it. Here's the Dinobots. They're in there for 5 minutes, and then they're kind of useless for the movie. And then in Fast and Furious, you put The Rock in. Everyone's like, oh, The Rock's in the movie. Go see it. Garbage. Oh, Jason Momoa's in it. The movie's garbage. Like, it's people just buy into this garbage every time.
I mean, they don't want depth. They don't want depth.
Apparently not, though, because this Transformers movie's not doing well financially. So apparently they're not buying into it.
Well,
yeah,
because
I think it's because it's like it's starting a new continuity, but it's already going to like extreme stakes. Because isn't like the bad guy a planet?
It's
Unicron. Yeah, it's basically like
so it's like Unicron. All right, okay.
Yeah, so it's basically like Galactus showing up.
Yeah, imagine they do that. Like what was the second Hulk? Incredible Hulk. He just shows up. It's like, what? Let's slow down.
And the only good one in this series, besides the first one, was Bumblebee, and that's a smaller scale story.
Yeah,
and it works better. Some people are arguing that, like, well, the human characters are interesting in this one. It's like, how
not even
are
close.
They interesting? I have in my review, I have a comparison versus like the main actor's face 90% of the time is like this frozen goat that I have a video of. So I just put like side by side of just like, this is his face, and here's a video of a goat that's just frozen, and they look identical.
Here's the thing. Here's how you know that he's not a particularly interesting. Either of them are particularly interesting characters. I haven't watched the original Transformers, like the first three that Michael Bay did, in probably about a decade. I remember the main character's name was Sam. I watched this movie 3 or 4 hours ago. I have no idea what that character's name was.
Wow.
That's how unremarkable he was.
They need to ditch the human characters. No one cares
about
the humans.
I agree.
It's weird. That is always the very strange thing about these films. I mean, it's the same thing with the MonsterVerse films. When those come out and you criticize them for the fact that they're incompetently written and none of the humans can act and the characters are shit, and you will reliably get people in response saying, yeah, but you're just supposed to watch it for the giant monsters fighting. That's all it's supposed to be about. And then your response to that has to be, okay, why isn't that happening more? If that's what the films are about, why are you spending so long with these awful actors with characters that can't speak and can't write? It's just, give me more giant robots fighting each other. I still think Gundam is infinitely better than Transformers, and Transformers is shit, but I would much rather a Transformers film where it was just, let's have the toys fight, because that's kind of what you're supposed to sell the film on.
Like, in Bumblebee, the first 10 minutes is of the war on Cybertron, and everyone was like, "Ooh, ooga booga, do that more!" It's like
ooga booga, okay,
ooga booga, big toys fight. Like, Warner Brothers, listen to the people. They want the big monsters fighting on Cybertron. That's all they want.
They kind of had the equivalency of this one too.
The only thing that they took that they shouldn't have taken from the Michael Bay movies, it's like the fact that he didn't make the robots into actual characters. Like, you think if they're going to do a continuity switch and they're going to switch it up, like Jay was saying, like, give Optimus Prime a character arc, and like give the individual characters like something to do other than just different colors for me to differentiate them. But it's weird that they just took the only thing that they took from Michael Bay was the worst thing that they could have taken, which is like, okay, we'll put awful, just weird, useless, screaming humans in the movie, and try to make them the heart of the movie instead of making it about the actual characters that everyone comes to fucking see.
You know, my video got age restricted, and I had to delete it, and I did re-upload it, so it's up again. It's with mild editing. I took butt vomit off the thumbnail, so it doesn't say,
it's now just
it just says no, because I think butt vomit contributed. But I was like, literally at the climax of the movie, they try to get the human character to be like cool and integrate him. So he integrates with an actual transformer and becomes basically like fucking RoboCop. And I wanted to, this would have really got me age restricted, because I wanted to cut away to that fan made film where RoboCop's just blowing off people's dicks over and over again. So that's basically what it reminded me of. I'll link it in the description.
Well, the first movie was good. It wasn't great. It was good because it was kind of like an homage to the cartoon. You get the little kid, the Transformers come to planet Earth. They're looking for I can't remember what they were looking for. The name of that.
The Allspark.
Allspark,
yeah.
Thank
which
you.
MacGuffin? What?
The box.
The mother box. Sorry, no, the Infinity Stones. No, I mean,
no.
But you didn't really get to know. You didn't get to know the characters that we kind of grew up and play with, like Jazz and the heavy armory guy, and like those characters were like in the cartoons quite a bit, and they had storylines as well. I mean, they all followed Optimus Prime, but you could have gone that route, and they just decided to, oh no, we know better, we can write better, and let's see how we can fuck this up.
So this is just like the comic book movies, right? Where they don't bring in the comic book writers, they bring in the Hollywood writers to write it up. And for me, with Transformers, my favorite Transformers is still the animated series Beast Wars. That was really great. And then, of course, my favorite moment in Transformers is I was a little kid and the original animated movie came out, and I remember seeing like my family's like grown-ups faces when Optimus Prime dies, and they're like, how does the main character die in a movie? Sorry, 86 spoilers. Sorry. But like everybody's mind was blown that this animated movie, which was so hyped up, had this dark twist in it, and I don't think that exists in Transformers 7. The one question I do have, Cynic, or for anyone else who did see the most recent one, do they have a slow motion shot of the female lead running like they had with Megan Fox?
No, because she's not hot.
She's not.
They stopped having.
I'm pretty sure the robot's hotter.
She's at a Dunkin' Donuts and she's just slowly eating a donut.
I was sitting with Brittany and we were both talking. We were like, is she attractive? No, she's not attractive. Like, I tried to convince myself that she was. She wasn't.
Their chemistry was like pain. Like, it was so painful. They have like one scene together where they're supposed to be getting close, and you're like, oh, this is where we build the relationship. So there's stakes in the latter half. And oh my God, like whoever the fuck cast those two together should have probably put them in a room together first to see if they could play off each other. It's like watching a high school play. Like, what has happened? And it costs so much money. Where the fuck does the money go?
Not to them. They must have been so cheap to cast.
Like over 200 mil.
200 mil.
Oh
yeah, there's probably some licensing fees for this. So
Hasbro, I don't know.
Well, because the thing about Transformers, it's a little weird. So it's not Transformers was actually made up of multiple toy lines that were like kind of brought together. That's why some of them are like, it makes sense that they become a car that's relatively the same size as the robot. Whereas like Megatron would go from being a 12-foot tall robot to being a handheld like pistol. So because they were different toy lines that did different things that they just put together as an advertisement.
Oh, that's interesting.
Essentially.
What they should do if they want to make real bank for Transformers 8 is hire Jack Black and Lizzo to be the leads.
Oh, please.
That would be.
I would probably be entertained by that.
You could have slotted Lizzo into the chick.
I could hear Jack Black as Megatron. I could do that.
Yeah, he killed it as Bowser earlier this year.
To this day, I'm still upset that they made Hugo Weaving Megatron in the original movie, because it just didn't sound right to me.
Right. Like, they get Hugo Weaving, who is unbelievably charismatic.
Yeah.
Like with his voice, everything. And then they
give him like
modulate
7
it
lines.
And change it. Well, yeah.
And he was dead for 90% of the movie.
Right. And when he did speak, they completely modulated and changed his voice, so it didn't even sound like him anyway.
You would struggle to fit Lizzo into the movie, which is already a pun, because this most recent one already has this giant thing that goes around eating planets for snacks. So there's no really, there's not any space.
I knew where you were going before you even said it.
Yeah,
that's how the world is saved.
Lizzo is mentioned. There must be fat jokes. It's just it's the form of the fat joke that's a surprise. Yeah. So I started this film. I actually bailed on this film because I think Bagface, I saw your tweet when you said it made you doubt humanity, and I thought, well, that sounds interesting to me because I really like those kinds of films. Started it. I lasted 29 minutes and 35 seconds, I think it was. And then I just bailed completely because I know nothing about Transformers anyway. It's not been anything in my childhood, anything like that. I've always found it kind of corny and cheesy. But this film was just no. I like big robots because like Gundam has really fun stories, and it's dark and it has actual human characters, and the machines kind of they're tools, and that makes more focus on the humans and less on just giant interstellar robots. But this one was just like so unbelievably soulless and dead and useless. Because normally my excuse for reviewing bad films is that you can still find writing tips and advice in these. It's worth breaking down the plot because you can say, well, this with a minor tweak could have been improved. This is how you could turn a bad film into a good one. This is a writing base that is so basic a lot of people will overlook it. But with the Transformers film, there was absolutely nothing like that. There is no conceivable universe in which that could be made a good film. And so I just found myself sitting there making jokes, not knowing what anyone's names were, and cringing at the names I did remember. And then I thought, you know what? I could be doing literally anything else. I could be cutting my toenails or something, and that would be much more fun than this. So off I went. So I'm not surprised or disappointed, but at the same time, well, no, maybe I'm depressed to learn that the thing actually closes with, is it a machine who morphs with a human into RoboCop? Is that what you said?
Yes.
That's bullshit enough to be in the film, so I guess
Pete
I'm not
Davidson. Pete Davidson turns a dude into Iron Man.
Pete Davidson.
Yeah, I did not. I heard that was happening, so I was like, nah.
Here we go. This reviewer is a has-been. I've never worked in the industry, bro.
Yeah, bro, you're a has-been.
That means he was a never was.
Yeah, can't be a has-been if I never was.
I hated the Transformers movies of the past, but this one was actually an enjoyable movie. It had a good story and a great setup. Optimus Prime's character arc was enjoyable to see progress. Well,
what was his character arc in this movie?
His character arc was, I hate humans. Optimus Primal says, well, I don't. And Optimus Prime's like, shit, you're right.
That bothered me so much because Optimus, like, first of all, there's a reason why his name is Optimus. You know, he's optimistic. That's the whole like reason why. So like to see him running around and just being like a complete just like jackass to everybody was so jarring, even within the own universe that it has. Like, take out all the cartoons, everything that everybody ever knew within the universe itself of these 7 films. The arc makes zero sense. If this is where he starts, now they're going to have to, in some way, shape, or form, explain how he goes from this person or not person, whatever, this individual, to being the optimistic leader of the first Michael Bay movie, and they're not even compatible. They barely even feel like the same character.
I feel like they took every bad lesson possible from the Bay films, because I did not see an Optimus Prime that was the one that we all know and love. Like, he was still this aggressive, pessimistic character, and he still told his enemies to die. Like, I just cannot get past that. Like,
I'll rip your face off and wear it.
Yeah, like, it's unbelievable. And I put a clip in my review too of Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, talking about that at a Comic-Con, being like, these movies, they make me say things where I'm like, I made an argument with the director. I'm like, I don't think that he'd actually say this stuff. And then he was like, no, read the line. And he doesn't say anything in particular, probably because he's under contract, but he just looks at the audience and goes,
yeah, and it's a shame because there's an idea you can take with Optimus and how, like, he's running from his homeworld because there's some civil war going on. And he lands on Earth, realizes it's habited, and now enemies are coming here. So now he's threatened the lives of all the living people here. So he's like, "Oh no! What do? I've just endangered the lives of trillions of people." And that could have been a thing, but it sounds like it's not.
Optimus Prime is the Superman of robots. That's all that is. He's an alien that comes to the planet. Yeah, he's blue and red. He fights for the people on Earth. And somehow they screwed that up.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say because in the trailer, I just hear him say, "You brought a human here," and I'm like, "Oh, we're back to square one. We're done."
Yep, right back to square one. It's sad too what they did with the Maximals, because I grew up. Like, I was born in the 80s, but grew up through the 90s because it was late 80s. So I grew up with the Maximals as my thing, and I loved Beast Wars and Beast Machines. And so that's how they got me for this movie. I was like, well, I heard Bumblebee was okay. And this is the sequel to that. And they have the Maximals. Okay. And then they didn't even really use them. They had 4 Maximals in the movie. And one doesn't say a word, and another one has one line.
Which one? It was Rhinox who said nothing, right?
Yeah, he just
which is ironic as hell.
Yeah. He just stood there menacingly.
Right. And Optimus Primal, who is, I think, a really cool character. They could have, if they were going to have an Optimus Prime arc, they had it right there, which was like Optimus Primal is made, and he was created in kind of like the image of Optimus Prime. Mm-hmm. And he's a better leader than Optimus Prime. And it would have been I was like, okay, at least you're doing something where they like had Optimus learn from Primal and learn to be a better leader that way. And they kind of wanted to do it, but it was so glossed over so that you could just have a CGI fuckfest. It was right there. It's right there. And they just say no. Absolutely.
At least he had probably the coolest kill in the whole movie, where he ripped someone else's head off and then beat somebody to death with that one. That was great. Yeah. I love that sequence. I don't remember what the context was, but it was a really cool kill.
I don't remember.
Wait, the monkey robot did that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Primal.
he tore off.
It's a very monkey thing to do.
Yeah. He tore off the head of one of the Terracon like things, and he starts beating another one with it. It was fantastic.
Their design was pretty good too. I like the Maximals design. Like when they roll into battle mode, I was like, "Yo, that's pretty cool."
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I thought that Air Razor and Optimus Primal looked good, but Rhinox and Cheetor barely got any screen time, so I could barely tell.
Yep, they wasted them just like they wasted the Dinobots. But the Maximals had more potential. Like they have more character than the Dinobots.
The Maximals was the thing that began me cringing, because it's just such a weird and very cringy premise to anyone who didn't grow up with the thing. But
that's totally fair. I totally get that.
Well, this was the thing, right? So I did start watching this, and I tend to script reviews as I watch. So I've got 6 pages of unused Transformer review just sitting around from the first 29 minutes and 35 seconds. And I was just sort of pondering the existence and the origin of these Maximals. And because I was so disinterested in the film, I've been flogging this to everyone, by the way. I have got an entire long aside on crabs and the universe's many attempts to turn things into crabs. There's a long 2 or 3 paragraphs on crabs and why people keep trying to evolve crabs and how crabs can emerge from various different creatures and species that have nothing to do with crabs. And I got to the end of this point and I thought, hang on, why was I making this point in a Transformers review? And then I sort of brushed it together with, well, it's more interesting than the Transformers film, so that's the reason. But also, it's also that, like, I was trying to figure out how, like, what do Autobot things, which don't come from Earth as far as I understand, they come from a separate planet. So why do they evolve to resemble Earth animals? How is that?
Do you want the in-universe reason, or
please?
Like, is that what okay,
well, the out-universe reason is just because. So the in-universe reason.
That's all I need, brother.
Okay, I'll give you the extremely basic version. So technically Beast Wars starts after the original Transformers, but when they leave Cybertron, because the war is like still going on, they leave Cybertron, they go through essentially a wormhole that brings them out of the out on Earth before the events of the first Transformers. So they go to a primal Earth where they have to blend in with what is around them. That's kind of the way.
But there are no leopards and rhinos on a primal Earth. There are dinosaurs and trilobites.
It's the best I can do for you, Platoon.
And in the movie, they come from a different planet, right?
It's always Cybertron is always the place they come from. So what they generally do is they try to take on the look of something that's common on the planet that they're on, so they can disguise themselves. That's why when they're on Earth, it's always cars, trucks. The Decepticons tend to take on military vehicles because they're more aggressive, like fighter jets and stuff like that, tanks, for instance. When they come out in the like the past times, it's like, it is weird. I understand dinosaurs and monkeys weren't around at the same time for the most part. I'm sure there was some.
Pretty sure the creationists say that Jesus rode both of them, but
But so like they scan when they crash land, they have like basically pods that go and scan like things around to be like what there's a lot of. It scans these various animals and gives them those traits. That's how that happens. That's the extremely basic version. I'm not going any further.
Just consume the product.
True.
Exactly.
We wanted a monkey and a T-Rex to fight each other.
Exactly.
Okay? That's what we wanted.
The reason why is because it looks fucking cool to have a gorilla turn into a robot and a dinosaur to turn into a robot.
And you can sell the toys. You can sell it. It will make a really cool toy. That's the reason. I'm sure.
Well, that's the whole point of Transformers and a lot of cartoons was to sell toys.
Yeah, it was the whole concept of Transformers was a cool toy line, and then the TV show and the movies, the cartoon ones, were to sell the toys. Like you can't deny that. That is reality. But
absolutely,
like a lot of these things, once you start creating a TV show, lore starts getting created. It just is. So like there is a character of Optimus Prime. He has certain things that we expect from him. And it just is what it is. And they certainly don't deliver them in any of these movies at all. I wonder how many times he's told his enemies in these movies that it's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, Doc.
which in the cartoons only really happened one time, and that was in the original movie in 1986, because basically there was the moment where it was like, I'm fed up with your bullshit. And one of us is coming out of here in a body bag today. That was like the legendary, one shall stand, one shall fall line, which doesn't exactly work out for him, as we stated earlier. So
he also is like, I don't know why they do this, and I saw a montage that I wish I had put into my video, but I saw it too late, and it's him constantly saying like, I'm going to come, or let them come. And it's like, why does he say this so much?
Someone's going to have to clip that now, because that could be so useful as a soundbite.
I'm coming. I'm still stuck in the crabs. I don't even know where that came from.
I want that.
That's what happens if you come into the wrong thing, you get crabs.
Yeah,
I think.
you get crabs. Yeah,
in more ways than one, apparently. Things evolve. Everything evolves into crabs.
Yeah.
The lobster.
I think they
wasn't there a whole episode of South Park
if
about
anyone
that?
is in the middle of doing a Transformers review, if you want 2 paragraphs on carcinization, they're yours, free of charge. I'll give them to you. You can have them. If you want crabs in your review, someone needs to take this thing. Otherwise, it's a complete waste of my time.
I haven't actually started. I have not started a review on this, so I'll take it.
All right, yo, like there's literally people like trolling my comments, going around to other people commenting and just telling them that I'm a fucking dumbass. So I would suggest,
because you don't think Transformers 7 is a good
movie. You don't understand.
This guy's a fuck. And monkey. I love my favorite is why don't you go make a good movie then?
Yeah, that's the
because I'm fucking broke. I live in an apartment alone.
I like when people tell that to me and I'm like, I'm a film student.
Why aren't you making million-dollar movies yet, douche?
Well, here's the thing, and I always say this to people: like, you can like a bad movie, just admit that it's not well written, and we can just move on with our day. That's all I tell people.
We're just like, yo, the one thing I always say is just, art is subjective. You guys, like, you can't tell me I'm wrong. It's a subjective medium. You could. Like you can be like,
there is objective things about writing that can make it bad, but there's someone out there. Yeah. Someone out there loves bad writing. You know,
one shall come,
and you shall come.
I bet you that's a line. I'm searching it up.
Are you coming yet?
Search Optimus.
Optimus coming.
No, it is amusing though to the amount of people that think that somehow the existence of your opinion invalidates theirs, and so they have to like attack you because like I'll post the video and usually things go well, but sometimes when you say Black Adam's a bad movie, or Transformers 7's a bad movie.
Or Guardians 3 is a bad movie.
Or Guardians 3's okay.
Oh my god.
That whole
how dare you
come after you.
Things go wrong.
You ever my favorite, I started doing this the other day. I went down a deep hole, but I just looked up reviews of Guardians 3 and just go look at the like to dislike ratios of people who thought that it wasn't good, and it's fucking crazy.
It's hilarious.
Like people just hunt down bad reviews just to shit on them.
Go look at Rotten Tomatoes at Little Mermaid, and it's people say it's either really bad or it's all about the diversity. I'm so glad that they added everyone's culture.
They saved racism.
Like, they stopped racism. You guys,
they didn't save racism.
Tell me about the movie. Tell me about the movie. Like there's nothing about the movie at all.
Boys were healed.
Yeah.
I think that was my problem with my my Guardians of the Galaxy review. It was too down the middle. I was like, yeah, go watch this once, but like after that, you're probably not going to want to watch it again. Which was too. It was both negative and positive at the same time. It was a problem. No one likes that shit.
You lost both sides.
Oh yeah, you can't ever say a movie is mid. I've done a couple of reviews of things that I thought were mid. Prey, I thought was mid.
You'll get attacked by everybody that way.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. And the Batman I thought was quite mid.
Actually, I would have preferred being attacked by everyone. I got attacked by no one. I want to be attacked.
I think people were just mad.
Careful what you ask for.
I think people were just mad that I put the smiling filter
on. Yeah, I just opened that up to the comments.
No, it is true. There is no such thing as a good movie. Everything has to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever, and no one likes to hear that the thing is in the middle. Thankfully, with Transformers, though, there's no debate on that point, or there shouldn't be any debate on that point. It's just shit.
And to
there
give
was some spots that looked nice, but other than that, it was.
Yeah, dude, like Transformers 7 at least looked good. Like the Transformers movies in general look pretty good. The CGI is pretty decent. That's all I got for you. That's the only positive I can really give you.
I feel like my bar is so low from fucking Marvel though. Like
that's the problem.
Yeah.
The CG looks great because Marvel CG sucks. The scripting isn't as bad as it could be because Marvel's is terrible. And like
that's a really good point. Yeah, it's like you will get people say that, and you ask them why, and their argument is basically boiled down to, well, at least they finished the CGI on this one, so that's good. I mean, it's not like the Book of Boba Fett where the set's half built. So that's anything above that is good now. It's you kind of wonder if it is a concerted attempt to lower the bar in that way, because then so many bad things are given a pass because the bar has been lowered to such a degree. So the overall lowering of standards means that you will genuinely get people, I've said this before, but you will get people to come out and say of a mid-film like Super Mario, well, at least it doesn't hate me. I'm thinking, that's not a standard for a film.
Yeah.
Best movie ever.
That was actually my most like downvoted video of all time, and it was also one of my shortest ones because I had nothing to work with. Was my Super Mario one? It was like 2 minutes long, and everyone hated it. It was great.
God, my fucking Transformers review is 18 and a half minutes because I had to re-upload it. It is dead. Like, it is absolutely dead. And I was just like, I could have made a 6-minute review like I did of The Little Mermaid in one day, move on with my life. And I spent the entire weekend working on this fucking thing. Again, I don't understand why, like, one person commented like 8 times constantly. And they kept saying, Take, this movie is a 7.5 easy. I'm like, why are you defending a 7.5 What the fuck is wrong with you?
I love Zuber Talk so much.
This is a solid C, okay? Let's go. I mean,
I don't know. It's the Optimus asking if you will come for me. That was it. That's my Gen Z speak. God, I just don't understand people. And what's weird is, like, it's all about timing. Like, you get a review out so that because it's, the movie just opened, so it's topical. But if you go against the grain, which I didn't even think I was, you'll get attacked. But if you wait a month, all those people will forget and move on to the next thing. And if you posted it, then everyone's like, you know what, that movie was kind of ass. You're right. Yeah, that movie did suck.
Interesting.
Yeah,
lemmings. They're all lemmings.
Straight up, just got notifications. There's just people having a chat about how much I fucking suck.
Just like, don't you
just ignore my comments. Ignore my comments on there.
Yeah, sorry, that's my alt.
Yeah, I had one of those. Well, I found it. I think it's quite an old one, but I only found it a couple of days ago. There's a Reddit thread on. Is it Saltier Than Crate? Which I think is just designed. There's one which is complaining. The headline of the Reddit thing is the little Platoon says that everyone who likes Avatar is a brainless moron. I'm thinking, yes, actually, kind of true. But like, what's your issue with what I said? Well, you called me I can't say it on stream because we'll get demonetized. But the R word, I stand by that as well. But any other complaints beside the fact that I called you out? No, it's just that they're very upset. So it's funny. It's funny. You can game these people. They are basically gameable.
I like when I do post reviews that go against the grain, though, because, like, if you leave the channel and unsubscribe, I'm just like, I didn't want you on this channel anyway, I guess, because you are weak. Like, you can't handle one dissenting opinion. Like, he hated Transformers 7. That's my bottom line. I cannot allow him to cross that one.
There's some
I think a lot of these
there's
IPs
like
do also have like, maybe they're actual bots or they're real people who are fans but are essentially bots who will come after you. Like when I forget who was talking about the Black Adam movie and the bad review. Like, there's lots of rock bots, right? Like, they're coming. You can't say bad things about him.
You can't say anything bad about the Rock.
Kathleen Kennedy has fans who will come to her defense. And it's
Zack Snyder actually has an army of bots. That's been proven. So whoever said Zack Snyder.
my outlandishly positive Batman review, Vex stayed sub. Thanks, Vex.
The Batman review?
Yeah.
It was
I gave a hyper positive review of the Batman.
Movie Cynic is a well-known The Batman defender. So.
I am.
Oh, I'll get on that train. That movie fucking slaps.
Woo!
It's a great movie. Great movie.
I liked it. Just wish it was a little shorter. That's all. That was my problem.
That's fair. I mean,
I've literally said that about every movie I've watched for the last 3 years. So it's like like, is it a complaint anymore, or is it just a fact?
I think if they cut it when it was the crane shot and it centered over the coffee cup and it just showed the question mark, I'd be like, that looks like a solid ending. A little cliffhanger, a little mystery, pretty good.
A little mystery,
but
it was almost like a 4-act structure. It was really odd.
Yeah, it was. It was a 4-act movie.
Yeah. Like that crane shot really felt like a conclusion, and then it's like, oh wait, where are we? Oh, we're in his office now. Okay, we're still going.
I'm just gonna respond. I'm just gonna respond to some really quick. Just Vex in chat. I don't want to type all this, but I'm a whore for good cinematography.
Same.
Oh my god! Like, and that movie is gorgeous.
That the cinematographer for that also did Dune. So
he did Rogue One.
Was that Greg Fraser?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very, 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 very good. You actually have to have seen that not bootlegged Sailing the High Seas Platoon in order to appreciate the cinematography.
Well, the Batman.
Yeah, because I remember you and Mega Geek. Oh, nice I thought it was you and Mega saying that Batman was too dark, and I'm like, did you only watch the bootleg on Pirate Bay, or?
I hate that comment more than anything. I like. Have you read a Batman comic? Have you read a Batman comic?
Of any franchise, darkness is probably fine for Batman. I mean, you know, the guy did adopt the dark after all.
He did.
So don't really complain about that one.
He literally says, "I am." He literally says, "I am the Knight." I mean, you don't get much more than that. You don't need anything.
No, I have plenty of other complaints about the Batman. I didn't hate it. I just think it's an incredibly mid film, and anything that ends with 4chan nerds flooding cities is automatically downgraded in my eyes.
Listen, they're coming for us, all right?
Look, I gotta say,
QAnon tards deserve that kind of mockery. Okay,
listen, we're just all Redditors, so we took it to heart.
I
That's
watched
me. Fuck this.
I love.
That's me. I feel
Reddit arguments are the best. I love when I get something downvoted on Reddit for absolutely no reason, and I'm just like, I don't understand what I said. I'll be like, you are correct, and someone's like, the person who I'm saying is correct is fine, and I get downvoted into oblivion. I'm like, I don't understand this.
It's just
very strange. It's a very strange community, to say the least. Because it's not one. That's the problem. It's a lot of communities.
Platoon, I know this little Platoon lore.
You do, yeah. It is points of clarification. Yeah, it's Oski who did the bad Batman review, as in bad as in he really hated it. And you should sub to him because he has a nice channel. And I did a response video basically going through, because he had at the time, it was because he did it on my channel, or our channel as it then was, and it flew off the rails. And so I thought, well, it's clearly there's something in this, so let's see if he was right. I referred to him as Dick throughout, though, so I mean, it's not entirely unsurprising. Not everyone caught that, but yeah, that's not my review. I think it's now gone from the channel as well, but yeah, that wasn't mine. Mine was a very I think it's a mid film. It has some really high points. I think cinematography was by and large good. It's the length, it's the fact they stole so much of the plot, it's the fact that I don't think he has very much of a character arc. I don't think Alfred's very good. I don't like the invocation of 4chan nerds as a threat. Have I mentioned that it stole everything from 7? Yeah, there's other things that I don't like about the film, but it's a mid thing overall.
To circle back to Transformers, by the way.
Oh yeah,
that's
should not get.
I also had a question about
that. My buddy actually, Blue Collar Loser, who has a channel that people should check out. He just texted me to remind me that in episode 1 of Beast Wars, they do not actually scan T-Rexes and raptors; they scan the fossils of them. So that is how there are dinosaurs and monkeys on the planet at the same time.
That I have a lot more questions now.
Oh God!
Like, dig up bones.
No,
it doesn't matter.
True. Big space, big robot movie. Ooga booga.
Of all the things, giant robots go through a wormhole back in time, crash on Earth, and you're worried about how they dug up fossils. That's the thing. That's where the science ends for you, right?
And there's a planet size.
That's where it all comes down for me.
Unironically, that kind of thing does annoy me. So in the first half hour of the film, the only bit of it that I did see, it took care to establish that this was set in the early 1990s. And yet she has this weird scanner tech that accidentally activates the weird beacon thing, which doesn't exist in the 1990s.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing.
If you're going to update tech in that way, and if your story really requires that kind of technology, then why have you taken the time to set it back in the 1990s when you're not using the 90s premise to actually build out your world very much, with the exception of the odd reference to Super Mario? Because hip-hop is a good idea, yeah.
Well, how else are you going to put Biggie in a movie unless it's set in the 90s?
You could have someone in the 2000s watching him.
Yeah, apparently that song was only good in the 90s. It's not still fucking awesome now. You can't just have it in a movie set now. Yeah, I thought that too. I mocked that in my review. Just like, oh, the movie forgot it was in the 90s for a second. Oh, well, that's fine. We just have this incredible technology we don't even have now, scanning this device in some random museum. That's incredible.
Can I ask you something? Because most of the panel's American, half, I guess. Oh, like half Canadian and half American. And
actually, I think this panel is only 3 Americans.
Ooh, does it feel really weird when a cinematographer like puts the Trade Center back in a movie?
Oh yeah, that was really jarring.
It just feels so weird to me.
Especially, I mean, I'm from not far. Like, I literally grew up
in the movie.
Yeah,
like the opening shot. It's like 30 seconds. It's so awkward.
So here's the thing: is I grew up right on the water where that was my skyline as a kid. So whenever I see it, when I see it in an older movie, it's a little less jarring because I understand, like, my brain can compute the, like, oh, this came out in 1992 or whatever when that was a thing. Seeing it put in a movie now, that's super jarring for me because I'm like, it like brings back a moment of my life that I don't like to relive. And so it was a little weird. I had family members that were, none of them died, but I had family members that did work in the World Trade Center that were, like, in the city at that time. So there was a lot of, like, being so close to it was very, it's just a weird thing anytime, especially the beginning of a movie to start with that is really
boom. Look at this.
Yeah. Hey guys, remember Tragedy? That's basically what that was.
Yeah, it's weird because for a long time they wouldn't allow that in movies. Like, remember when Spider-Man came out in 2002? Yeah, they removed it. It's interesting that they're like, oh, everyone's emotionally fine now. We can just put that.
Yeah,
back
even
in
people got mad that the second Lord of the Rings film was called The Two Towers. People got
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's so
funny.
Fucking stupid.
I heard that and I'm like, hey, that's
it's nice to know
funny.
people have always been dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It is. It's a very handy, very handy shorthand way now. Because enough time has passed. It's a very handy shorthand and kind of subliminally shocking way of showing that this is the before times. So you've gone past the period where you're not allowed to see it or refer to it because it's the tragedy is present, and now you've got to the point of this tacit assumption that there is a before world before all of the shit happened, and there's an after world after all of the shit happened, and the only thing you need to do to delineate the before times from the now times is, do the two towers exist or do they not? And it's I think it's kind of effective as a little artistic shorthand. I don't necessarily mind it, but I can understand why people who had sort of close personal experience with the thing might be a little bit upset to see it used in that way.
If it wasn't in the shittiest fucking movie of all time that has no artistic integrity at any point,
if you're gonna show the Twin Towers, put it in a good movie at least.
Yeah,
respect them.
I could go on a tangent about that stuff way too much. I'm just gonna sit back.
I'm kidding. I forget in Bumblebee, but does he talk with the radio again?
Yeah, he learns how to talk. I actually watched when Cynic officially told me that this was a topic. I was on a flight that just happened to also have Bumblebee on the flight. So I was, I somehow watched the movie on the plane. I'm not going to say how I watched it on the plane. But so I was like, you know what? I'll go rewatch Bumblebee. I had a 5-hour flight. I was like, that pretty much covers the 5 hours. It's like 4 hours of it. And he starts the like right at the beginning, he can talk, and they rip out his voice box, and at a certain point, he's teaching himself to talk with the radio. So,
did you notice in this newer one too? Like, I thought he was talking with the radio, and then he randomly busts movie lines. I was like, is there like a movie playing on the radio? Like,
yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, like just any quote now he can just rip out of. There's no internet yet. It's not like he's just sucking these things out of the air.
Yeah. I don't know.
This
I feel
sounds
like
really
it's just
bad.
like, hey, remember this quote? Now he's saying it.
This sounds so bad.
One shall come.
You will come.
Anyway, back to crap.
My favorite quote from Bumblebee is from the 5th movie, where he has this human at gunpoint, and then he's like, he quotes this Western or something, and he's like, "I'll burn you so bad you wish you died as a child." And I'm like, Bumblebee? That's a bit out of pocket.
Good Lord.
Wow.
Sounds like something Optimus would say.
Just we didn't, but okay.
I'll add that to the list of why I hate British people.
I love British people.
I actually didn't read the whole quote. Maybe I should actually read the whole thing.
Yeah, actually, I didn't read the whole quote, but
we burned the White House a couple
of
times. That's the last major thing we did.
I think Canada can take that one. Like, we're technically a British colony at that point, but it was some Canadians that burned that shit down. Don't get it twisted.
You're making our cities orange. Stop.
Speaking of burning.
Confirmed. Yeah. No, we can't. Moving very swiftly on.
I think this has gone into locations that we cannot return to.
I'm gonna go nail my windows shut.
Anything else there to be said for or about the Transformers thing, or are we ready to move on?
Fuck this movie.
Hold on, let me pull up my notes.
Big robot equals good movie.
Oh, I'll just read off some of the things I wrote down, and let's see if we can pinpoint where they were. Random racism comment was bad. I remember that one. It was the work friends you've been inside me quote. That was horrible. It was like, work friends, you've been inside me.
I remember that line.
I thought that was kind of
the fact that they mentioned Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch when Mark Wahlberg was in the series of the movie. Worse offender than what they did in Endgame. With Jeff Bridges. With Jeff Bridges. The fact that they mentioned. I'll just rapid fire a few more of these. Final battle. Speaking of Endgame, final battle looked exactly like Endgame. That was
flat terrain.
It was a flat terrain in
beautiful
Peru because it's just much easier to animate dirt.
I think that might be it. I
and
think
they actually
touched.
One thing, you just reminded me of one thing. Mm-hmm. So like I watched an interview with the director bragging about how they got to film at Machu Picchu. Like it's barely even open to public anymore. And they used it for like nothing.
Yeah,
no,
that's and dude, I've been there. So I was pissed when I saw the Autobots like churning up the grass. I was like, "You fucking no respect bastards!" Like,
I actually do have one about that. So you had these symbols in the ground that could be turned, and there was some sort of. And you're telling me over the course of thousands of years, nobody figured out the right alignment to open up this door into the ground, but they figured it out in 30 seconds.
Listen,
that was
the walking plot device. Says
who figures it out? The Transformers
or the two nameless
humans?
So the girl
it's too complicated for white people.
Elena.
The girl.
But it was in Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
Listen, it's too.
Well, she was not convincing at all. Every line that actress delivered sounded like she had no clue what her character was actually saying. It sounded like she was reading off a script or had just memorized it, right before they said,
up,
camera.
And here's the last.
It was awful. Go ahead.
Here's the last one I'll say. They literally had a "they fly now" moment with Mirage. So two of the Decepticons take off in the air, and he's like, he basically is like, they fly now. It was basically the scene from.
Oh my god!
Yeah, God. And I was like, I can't believe they emulated one of the dumbest lines from a Disney movie.
Can I just say something really important? We should support the writers that are on strike right now. They've done a bang up job out there. Let's support them.
Maybe if we just pay them more for this,
pay them
awesome work.
And turn the AI off so they're not.
Oh god, that is my favorite demand. No, studios must commit never to use AI to source scripts or to write scripts.
It's like, bro, okay, it's already done.
I will be willing to entertain that if you actually write something good, because that's what you're there for. That's literally your whole fucking job. And if you can't do that, then I'm happy for a computer to do it instead.
What's really funny is that the AI itself seems like it's pretty woke. So they've programmed it.
They love it.
All of their worst habits. And they're going to get devoured by it. So
I love how Liam thinks I'm really serious about that comment.
Are you serious?
I'm really serious about that comment.
You are right though, because it does train on established canon. So theoretically, it can get past events much more sort of accurately right. It won't have so many continuity errors. But if you tell it to generate, a script for Captain Marvel, because it's training on established stuff and what everyone says, the script will be something like Captain Marvel saves God. And that's the premise of the film, because it's learning from the worst conceivable things.
Thank you. Don't worry, God, I got your back. I told I was gonna do a year, like a 1 year later Obi-Wan video, but that script just kept going on, and I just couldn't finalize it quick enough.
Kind of like Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Well,
and I was trying to come up with a concept to rewrite it, and I just kind of gutted the whole thing. And then I was like, I just gave my prompt to an AI, and it was it was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. A little bit of writing mistakes. The prompt was, what's Luke's uncle's name? I completely
Uncle
forgot.
Owen.
Uncle Owen.
Where's Z3PO when we need him?
So yeah, so the prompt was Uncle Owen realizes there's a lot of crime going on in Tatooine. Jabba's not doing anything about it, so he goes to Obi-Wan and says, "Hey, there's a lot of crime. Can you?" And they're kidnapping children. Luke's a child. Go do something about that. And told him to become like an anonymous cowboy. And then in the script, it would say it was Obi-Wan, and he said, "Don't worry, Owen, I will become an anonymous cowboy." He just said that. And then later, he runs into bounty hunters, and then the bounty hunters are like, "Who are you?" And then he says, "I'm an anonymous cowboy." And I was like, you know what? I think I might adapt this.
The thing about AI is that it remembers what it wrote earlier, so it reuses it. So one of my favorite things to do, actually, completely related to my channel as well, is to ask ChatGPT I pick a random villain from something and have Rocky fight him, and I have like 17 different like mini scripts.
It's Rocky.
It's like the Terminator, the Predator,
Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime would be next.
Optimus Prime, the famous villain.
And I think one day what I might do is I may just read them all off and then like record it and send it to somebody to animate. It'll just be fantastic. It'll be
film it yourself. What are you doing?
Little Platoon just set up a great premise there. It's, "Are you there, God? It's me, Captain Marvel." Like, that is a movie right there.
It would still be better than the Marvels. I'd pay to see that one, to be sure. Right. Well, I guess as a last word on Transformers, I'll say crabs are really interesting, and we can move on to we have there's a couple of things coming out. We've mentioned them before. They've been on a few shows already. But we have The Flash and Indy 5 coming out in the relatively impending future, and the box office predictions for both are out, and neither of them are particularly good. And the first reviews of The Flash are out as well, and they aren't all good either. So on the box office stuff first, I think The Flash is predicted to do, I think it's $75 million in an opening weekend. Indy 5, by contrast, is predicted to do, I think, 65 at most over a 5-day holiday. So not going well for either of these two in particular. I don't know which one we want to take apart first.
Well, I am seeing The Flash tonight.
What?
So, yeah, that's the benefit of living in a big city, I guess. This is the first time I've done this, but they had a one showing at the local IMAX.
Oh, it's the fan pre
thing. Yeah.
Oh.
So they have a showing at 9:30 tonight. So I'm going to that. But yeah, it's wild to me. The trajectory of this movie has just been such like a yo-yo, because it had a troubled production. And then everyone was like,
really? I'd heard nothing about this. No? What's the trouble with The Flash?
There was trouble before Ezra Miller was even cast in the movie.
It took a while for this movie to come up. And then they were like, all right, it's a Batman movie now.
But yeah, the box office predictions and the word on the street about the quality of the movie has been so up and down. It's jarring. So I have no idea what to expect tonight. I'm fascinated. I'm really interested.
I know someone that's seen it, and she works at a comic shop, and she said it's actually pretty good. Compared to a lot of the DC movies that they put out. The problem I have with The Flash is the way they portray Barry Allen. Barry Allen is a genius in the comic books, and a detective, and a detective and a forensic scientist. And so
he's a crime scene investigator.
Yeah. And so, I mean, having Ezra Miller as a goofy little half-wit as the Flash doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I never got the read that he was like smart. I always just thought he was like a weird Redditor in his little boy cave in like Justice League.
K-pop weeb.
We're very pro Reddit here.
We love Reddit.
Yeah.
I love him as Barry Allen. I felt seen.
Weirdly enough, weirdly enough, he's actually a little closer to like, and not much, but like he's definitely not Barry Allen. He's a little closer to Wally West, but not even that is really all that close. Because at least Wally West was a little bit more quippy and like he tried to be like silly funny, but like Barry Allen was more often than not more serious because he had some serious childhood trauma, almost on the level of Batman. And actually, if his might be worse than Batman's. Because his father was framed for his mother's murder unjustly. So like his actually might be worse than Batman's past. So he's like being such a weird, like not taking the like criminal aspect seriously is very out of character for him.
Yeah, I see him more of Garfield Beast Boy from Ezra Miller could play that because he's kind of like a naive, gullible kid, and he could play that role really well. But like as for Barry Allen, no, I just don't. It doesn't jive with me. Casting again, casting again is horrible. So that's my take on it.
I had a friend who saw it, and they sent me because I told them I don't care about spoilers, just shoot, tell me what the cameos are, and I saw the cameos, and I'm like, man. They're desperate, because there's a lot more than just what's in the trailers. Obviously,
was Henry Cavill in it?
I'm not saying anything. So
he doesn't care about spoilers, but he knows other people do.
The chat doesn't care.
I don't want to get chat mad at me. So.
Yeah, no, I think we can probably save the specific spoilers and cameos. But the general comment is that if a film is going so far out of its way and all of its pre-production material to all the trailers, all the publicity stuff, to say, look how many cameos we've got, that usually isn't a sign of confidence in the story or the protagonist of the film, in my experience. That means you're trying to sell the film on the back of somebody else's success that's been earned in this case decades ago, and much less with the character you're trying to depict now in the story. And the star of the film obviously is not going to be very at the forefront of anyone's publicity material these days. But it's the same thing with the Multiverse of Madness issue. You know, they say, well, we're going to bring it all back for reshoots because we're learning the lessons from Spider-Man No Way Home. And as a result of that, they can say, look how many interesting new cameos we've thrown in. Now let's all have fun as Wanda snaps all their necks. That's the film you want to see. Like, how many cameos can she ruin? How many much loved characters can Wanda kill? That's what everyone wants to know. But it's not what is obviously marketed in the advertising material. So yeah, I wouldn't be entirely encouraged by The Flash relying so heavily on the one everyone knows is Michael Keaton, because that's a film which had its day. I don't think I was alive when Michael Keaton played Batman. And so it's designed to appeal to a certain demographic and to get their sort of nostalgia testicles vibrating, but it's not going to actually pull in much of a new audience, I don't think. And also, you're not earning that. You are literally capitalizing on somebody else's success. So what have you got to say for yourself? Yeah. And yeah, I've seen mixed reviews. Some people have said that it's surprisingly good. Bounding Into Comics has said it's an unfunny CGI monstrosity. So somewhere between those two positions.
Well, the final battle looks like it's just set in like flat.
What is up with that? Why?
Like I saw people.
I know why,
at this and they're like, "Oh, look at this! This is so cool!" And I'm like, "Dude, this looks like I just went into Minecraft and loaded up a super flat world. Like this is just not like what am I doing here?"
Yeah, the CGI looks like serious.
Cynic, you said you know why, but like, why? Explain to me why? Why?
Oh, just because of the fact that it's cheaper to animate. And
why?
And it really started since Man of Steel in 2013, where people were like, hey, you're killing a lot of innocent people without acknowledging that. And our main character doesn't do that. I hate this movie. And so they're like, well, we'll just have everything take place on some weird, ugly desert spot where it's actually easier to animate and cheaper too. So
or they'll do the sequel, and they'll just they'll look at the camera and say, it's uninhabited.
Yeah, they'll do that. They do that. Like, don't worry,
he's on the West Island.
It's already been been evacuated.
Apparently, the star of the movie is Supergirl. Apparently, the actress that plays Supergirl steals the movie. She does a really.
I've actually heard that.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
she's hot as fuck.
Yeah, I've heard that the
plot is really good in this movie. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I've heard that the marketing does like a terrible job of in any way, shape, or form showing her off, whether it be both physically and like plot wise.
I'm gonna be honest, the suit is not good. The Zack Snyder era suits need to die. The only good one was Batman, kind of.
Yeah,
give me real suits.
Yeah,
like for the love of God, have people put on fucking helmets again and give me actual suits.
Yeah, and there's this weird thing in DC where everyone's suits made of like this thick rubber. Like Flash is now this thick rubber with this weird pattern. Shazam was this thick rubber with a weird pattern. Black Adam, same thing. Superman, same thing. Batman, arguably the same thing. It's like, can we just put a guy in pajamas, please? Give me something new.
The best Spider-Man suit is Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014.
The least watched Spider-Man movie.
The least watched, and it was not a great movie, but damn, that suit was like perfect.
That suit's pretty good. And it looks like fabric. Like in the opening scene where he's like doing this, and it's the back shot, you can see the folds in the suit, and it's like, hey, that's something physical that I can touch, and I acknowledge that, and it feels physical. But everything's so skin tight.
The worst line that was ever written in a superhero
CGI,
film.
though.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, it was, but it was good.
Yeah. The worst line that was ever written into a superhero film that I think set that in motion was in X-Men 1, the "What would you prefer?" yellow spandex line. God. That set that domino effect. Yes. It just got further and further away from that as the years went on.
I love how
let's not go X-Men because I'm going to lose it.
Even as a kid, when I was I think I was 12 or 13 watching that movie, every person
probably around there.
Yep. I would prefer yellow spandex, please. Why are you all wearing bondage suits?
And then they gave them colorful suits.
Bring out the GIMP. Bring out the GIMP.
Shit.
I honestly
go for it.
I'm still laughing at the GIMP thing.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, sorry. I was gonna say with the cameos that this movie is going to be having, it reminds me of the cameos, not even cameos, the episode stealing Mandalorian in the Boba Fett series, where they're like, we need to save this. Let's bring in this character. And that's Keaton, right? And that's every other, Easter egg that's going to pop up that they're going to produce. Are they going to bring in Green Lantern? Are they going to bring in Hawkman? Is it Black Adam going to be in the background of a scene eating a bagel or something? Just to make you gotta see this. And the Rock.
I want Green Lantern.
Awesome.
But this goes back to the earlier
good Green Lantern movie.
This goes back to my earlier comment. The Fast and Furious and all that. You throw Jason Momoa in there, tinsel, people go because he's the hot take right now. He's the flavor of the month. Then you put in The Rock, and you're doing the same thing with the superhero movies where, okay, this is going to be a flop, so let's put Michael Keaton in there because everyone talks about who's the best Batman. Majority of people are going to say Michael Keaton or Christian Bale. So, I mean, Clooney. These movies are so bad that they have to resort to these tactics, and people don't even realize it. That's the sad thing about it. They're like, take my money. These movies are great. And it's like,
well, it's literally that meme of don't ask questions, just consume more product. Literally, that's where we live.
I'm a Val Kilmer purist for my Batman. Just saying.
Yo, he was a great Batman.
True and real.
When I was growing up, I thought he was the best. For real.
Yeah. Val Kilmer played a really good Bruce Wayne, actually, in my opinion.
Isn't he the only one? Is it him or George Clooney that you could make the argument that he's the only live-action Batman that hasn't killed anybody? I don't remember which one.
I think it's Clooney.
I think it was Clooney.
No, because he killed Two-Face at the end of the movie.
Oh, he does?
No, he throws the coin.
No, that was the luck of the coin. That was
okay.
It was the luck of the draw.
He knew it was going to happen. What if he caught the coin? Then it was like, sorry, Dick. I guess you do have to kill him. That's not how that's going to go.
Well, I want to know why he had so many coins in his pocket.
Because he always comes prepared.
He was the Boy Scout.
I think friend of the channel, Rennie, disagrees with your take on Val Kilmer. Then again, I will point out this is someone who simps for the Batman. So, are we really to trust his take on the best?
And are we to trust Rennie? She liked Rise of the Beasts. So,
fucking good point. Yeah, Jesus.
Boo. Boo.
You like bad movie, therefore terrible critic. Guy.
Supposedly she's married too. I've heard that rumor going around.
This is right. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is my massive Batman statue that sits next to me at all times. It's like almost 3 feet tall. Yes, wow. I'm a Batman fan. I like Batman.
I'm gonna have to steal that.
You'll need a truck or something if it's 3 feet tall.
I would show off my collection, but I just have like a bunch of BB-8s that people have given me. I don't even like the sequel trilogy. I just have a bunch of BB-8s.
They're like, here, you have this trash.
Did they all come with gift notes saying something like, "This is to get you back"?
No, I have this, which is a 3D printed one, which is pretty cool, and I'm pretty sure this could kill someone.
You could kill somebody with most things if you try hard.
I have the robot version that you control with the iPhone. Can I grab this with?
That's actually really cool that you can control it with the iPhone.
I have the Lego one, which this is actually pretty cool. But
okay, I can believe that maybe 1 or 2 people sent you BB-8s, but if you start bringing out 4, 5, 6, the Lego one that you actually made yourself,
I just collected these. Like I don't even know how these came up. Like I have this golden Jango Fett Funko Pop. Someone just gave me this. This is just showing up.
You're just adding to the evidence bag. You've got fucking Funko Pops as well. It's not looking good for you at the moment. It's a secret.
I don't know. The only one here that I got was the one that you control with the iPhone. That's the only one that I thought was cool.
I just want to point out somebody in the chat ever since I mentioned Mark Wahlberg before has been going on about how he's a violent criminal for like the entire and that was at least 45 minutes ago.
Listen, let him talk.
He is.
I'll speak for the entirety of the Black community right now and say that we forgive Marky.
Well, didn't he beat up like Vietnamese people?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I speak for them too.
All right.
Minorities as a whole.
It's the BIPOC label, isn't it? Or BAME. BAME, that's the one. You're speaking for all of the BAME people.
Nice.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've just noticed that it's popped up at least 3 or 4 times. It's just like Mark Wahlberg's a violent criminal. I'm like, okay.
Cool. Listen, there's a Mark Wahlberg themed restaurant. How bad can the guy be?
I mean, he started that restaurant.
I have a question. Like, what was the last great movie you've seen? Like,
great movie?
Great?
Yeah, great. Like that one that was actually entertaining, good story.
Megan, back in January?
I would say everything everywhere at once.
Oh, that was a year ago now.
Great movie.
That was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I thought Megan, they underutilized like a lot of the premise. I was hoping for more. Like I thought Megan was really good, but
yeah, that could have been another half hour long, and I would have been satisfied with that for sure. Yeah.
I tend to shy away from the label great movie just because I think it's an incredibly high standard that it's ideally it's best kept to say like 5 or 10 films of all time. The last genuinely good movie I watched, which I didn't really find any problems with, was probably Tetris of all things, and I never expected that I would even watch the film, never mind like it, but that's a genuinely good film. Pleasantly surprised by that one.
Ooh, someone in chat said The Lighthouse.
Oh, I still haven't seen that. I own that. I still haven't seen it.
Platoon, have you seen it?
I started it. I don't think I finished it. So no.
I love that movie.
I just watched that latest movie that came out with Affleck and Matt Damon, the one with the Air. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty good too. It's pretty good.
I've been big on shows.
Me too.
Movies just seem to continue to fail me, but like there's a lot of really good shows out lately I've been fucking with.
I've been watching Breaking Bad. I just got done with season 2.
So
dude,
Breaking Bad's amazing.
Season 2 finale was rough for me. It was really good.
It's a damn fine show.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it because I feel like Breaking Bad spoilers are always like a big deal. So
it's too late.
We're adding shows. If we're adding shows, the second season wasn't as good, but the first season of Mayor of Kingstown was really good. That was one I really liked. That nobody seems to ever talk about that show. That's another Taylor Sheridan like thing. So like he's got 14 projects at any time. One of them's bound to kind of fall through the cracks. That seems to be the one that did.
I really enjoyed the film of The Last Kingdom that wrapped up that series. That was pretty fun. If anybody has watched The Last Kingdom on Netflix, the story.
I've not seen it, but it's been recommended to me a number of times, and I've been meaning to watch it, but no, I've not seen it yet. But
it's very good. It's very reminiscent of Vikings.
Yeah,
but it's strictly focused in England, and specific Wessex.
It's King Alfred, isn't it?
King Alfred primarily, and then the later seasons moves on to his son Edward. But the main character is Uhtred, and he's like the brilliant warrior who saves the day, and he has a really great storyline. And then the movie wraps it up really nicely, as opposed to the movie of Luther, which was trash.
I heard that was not very good.
The show
they made
was
a
great.
Movie.
The movie.
Sorry, I completely zoned out for a second.
Completely and utterly terrible. The first and third acts, especially the conclusion, you're just like, what is even happening? And then you kind of got some of like the Idris Elba charm in the second act of it, but it was just so awful. It was so disappointing because I love the series Luther.
I'm going to bring up an old one, but just because I watched it recently, and there's some Canadian homies on here with me. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Goon. It's got like Sean William Scott. I recently watched that movie.
Dude, that movie's great. I forgot about that movie.
Great. Yeah, that is a great fucking movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something that could not be made today, but oh my god.
No, it could not.
It's like Rocky on Ice. It's beautiful.
Well, there's a TV series. There's a TV series out right now that I'm watching. It's called From. And if you like Lost and Twin Peaks, this one will keep you entertained and full of questions of what's going on in this series. It's pretty good. So,
and I still tell, I'd say this whenever good movies are brought up. Please, you guys need to see the movie Pearl. You have to see X as well because they're connected. But anyone in the chat, Mia Goth, fell in love with her. She's amazing in that movie. Go see Pearl. It's fucking great.
My commuting buddy, she was actually brought those up, and I was like, actually, I have on good authority that those are really good movies, and you should watch them. In fact, the guy, the guy who told me that has movie in his name, so you should
and he does it as his job.
Yeah. And normally he's rather cynical, so if he says it's good.
I'm gonna do this because I bring this up every time I'm on the panel. Platoon, have you been keeping up with Silo?
I have.
That show. Fantastic!
I'm gonna start that. Tonight. So,
minimal
spoilers.
Okay,
anything. Don't
no spoilers.
The beginning really, it did.
It comes back.
The beginning is really good. Then it becomes way too mystery boxy, and it starts to lag at around episode 3, I think it is. And it lags for a couple of episodes as well. So I was kind of in the oh god, am I going to have to be really disappointed and drop this? But the last episode picks up again quite quickly. So as long as they don't, proliferate the mysteries too much, and if they actually keep their focus, it's a brilliant premise. And 1 or 2 of the mysteries are really well done. It's by and large quite well acted. It's very well shot, and it looks beautiful. Almost everything on Apple is stunningly good looking. I mean, I've not really appreciated it before. I only got Apple TV recently, but even stuff which is otherwise not brilliant, say Foundation, which I have some good things to say about, except insofar as it's just using the name Foundation and isn't actually a depiction of the story, but it looks amazing. I mean, Apple is probably by far, in fact, the best looking of all the streaming services. And also it's doing something which I wish more streaming services would do, which is it's taking either established IPs that haven't been adapted either ever or for a long time, or it's finding new ones that have never been adapted. Silo is a case in point. And it's not going around buying up incredibly lucrative and already successful studios and just parroting more IPs back onto the screen. It's not doing an Amazon with Rings of Power. It's not doing Disney with Star Wars. It's actually looking for new things that it can mark itself out by, which I like as an approach. Tetris was another Apple TV thing, I think. And again, surprisingly good. Very good, in fact, in that case. So, yeah, weirdly enough, never thought I found myself complimenting any streaming service, but if it's going to be one, probably Apple is the one to look at.
And it's not full
there
of
is
backlogs of bullshit. Sorry.
Yeah. There is a rumor, though, of Star Wars being sold. And there's a mentioning of George Lucas, but there's also a mention of Apple buying Star Wars.
That would be crazy.
It would be mad. It just strikes me as way too much of a Doomcock style rumor. That one, I think it's wishful thinking. Everyone wants Disney to let go of Star Wars. Somebody wants it to. Nobody wants to leave children in the sort of the company of Joseph Fritzl. But you do actually have to account for the reality. Disney's not going to let Star Wars go before it lets all of its chief executives go, before it changes all of the writing teams. There's so many things it will try before it lets that go. And, the announcements recently that they're going to deprioritize Indiana Jones streaming stuff and focus on Star Wars suggests that they still have a vision for what Lucasfilm can be in Disney. I would like them to sell it. I don't think Apple would buy it. I don't think it's their business model. I like the idea sentimentally of them giving it back to George Lucas, but then you have to remember that I love much as I love the prequels, they are deeply flawed things, and his ideas only seem to get worse. So, I don't think that would really save it either. What it needs is competently educated people who can actually think through scripts, who do their research and have basic grasp of storytelling. So give it over to who did Andor? Tony Gilroy. Give it to Tony Gilroy.
Yeah,
he actually does his research.
Yes.
He knows how to write drama. He's really interesting. I would like to see that.
Would they have to sell it all off as just Lucasfilms, or could they sell it off as individual IPs? I wonder if that's I wonder if that's part of the agreement, that they all have to stay as one large lump.
I think it would be tricky. I don't think they would do it, if only because you're effectively saying that I'm going to parcel off Star Wars into a different brand. That is going to doom Lucasfilm as an entity. So there's no point owning Lucasfilm as an entity if you're going to strip away the most profitable assets from that. And if they ever wanted to sell Lucasfilm at some point in the future, they would be selling it then without Indiana Jones, without Star Wars. There would be no point anybody buying it. So I mean, it's not impossible. Willow.
Let me look that up.
I will fight everybody over Willow.
Willow's crazy because all of Willow's terrible. The movie's bad too. It's wow.
I had to say I never really liked Willow, although the series I think deserves more love. It's one of the most comically inept things ever to come onto TV. It was hilarious, and I'm really sad that they were so embarrassed by it. They removed it from the entire platform.
It kind of sucks that it was taken off.
It literally is just those three.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to, apart from Star Wars,
they made an animated movie. It was not good, but it was an animated fairy tale movie with it was just Peter Pan and Tinkerbell.
Secret of Nim? No, that's the different.
Maybe, I don't remember.
That was Bluth. That was Don Bluth. The Secret.
Yeah.
But I remember because it was it was trying to be like Trolls before Trolls, and it was getting a bunch of pop singers in and doing pop songs, and it was really bad.
I've heard that Kathleen Kennedy has been out for the last year. I thought she got fired a year ago.
No. Yeah.
No?
5 years ago, I thought.
Yeah, 5
I don't care.
She's got too much dirt. She has too much dirt in everyone.
Yeah. Listen, she gets kicked out every day at this point with all the rumors.
If you want to have some real fun, wait till Cynic comes back and bring up her neck. It's a fun time. Just be so Kathleen Kennedy's neck,
turkey neck.
It's something else, man.
Hey, she is 69 years old.
It does seem to have aged much worse than the rest of her has, and the rest of her hasn't aged particularly well. But yeah, the neck belongs to a different person, one that hasn't had Botox. But there was, it's always the rumors. That's why I said it's wish thinking. Lots of people would like to think that, all you need to do is change the chief executive or change the company that owns it, and Star Wars is saved. But that's far too easy a solution. Disney will try everything to make it successful, and there's no guarantee that Kathleen Kennedy won't do a Kim Il-sung and declare herself life president of the company even after she dies, and it turns into this weird North Korean situation where everyone just has to celebrate her stuff. I see no positive future for Star Wars at all, apart from maybe Andor season 2. But
my favorite rumor of the Star Wars sale is that there is some oil tycoon somewhere in the world who is a big fan and nostalgic for Star Wars, and he's ready to pony up $8 billion. That's straight from Doomcock.
There's always some oil baron out there wanting to buy things.
It is true. You could find some Saudi princeling who buys Star Wars as opposed to buying a football team and winning the championship with it. So.
They can afford Star Wars.
Then there's no good movies, though. They're just going to turn Star Wars into a fucking hotel brand that you have to go to Dubai and pay $10,000 a night to stay in a Star Wars room for.
So they already did that. Much like the Galactic Star Cruise.
Well, they already do that. So
fuck.
If I was a tycoon, I'd just buy it, and then I would decanonize everything Disney did, and then just let it sit. Nobody touch it. It's done.
I've always said I would make like the worst like multi-billionaire because I would do weird stuff like that all the time. I would just buy up like all sorts of properties and just be like, okay,
hey Marvel, get over here. I'm fixing your comics. Psych. I'm actually completely resetting this entire MCU thing. It's terrible.
I don't think anybody could fix Marvel Comics at this point. I don't think that's a possibility.
You can. You can. You can actually can't.
I don't know.
You just you wipe it all out.
You have to basically declare that everything before like 2000, after 2009 didn't happen. And that's essentially what you have to do.
Well, you begin with some awesome villains, and then you just have the heroes responding to that. If you actually have quality villains, like the build up to Thanos. Thanos was a great villain. Endgame kind of, it didn't land the mark, so to speak, of like finishing the movie, but Infinity War was spectacular because it focused on him, and he was that sympathetic villain that you could really enjoy while he rained terror down on everybody. But they've done such a disservice, especially with like a Doctor Doom. Like Doctor Doom, I know he's Fantastic Four, but he's been involved in so many different things, and they should have made him the actual villain in Wakanda forever. And
they could have had sorry,
that's okay, but like they could have had him like being the puppet master orchestrating a war between Wakanda and Atlantis, and then they could have also called it Atlantis and Namor, not Namor or whatever they call it. But
that's racist of you.
Sorry,
they're not going to call him
Doctor Doom,
even though he's a loving childhood.
If they wanted to, they could have made Doctor Doom a villain with Doctor Strange. He's actually gone toe-to-toe with Doctor Strange on many occasions. He's almost as much his villain at this point as he is the Fantastic Four's villain, because he's tried to steal the Sorcerer Supreme from him on like at least 5 occasions I can remember. So,
yeah, totally. That you need those great villains. Like I thought I heard a rumor going into Phase 4 that they were going to be focusing on like an Earth timeline or storyline, and then like an outer space storyline, and that the villain for the Phase 4 was supposed to be Doctor Doom. But maybe they didn't like him because he's a white guy, but then he's a perfect villain.
I think that's when they still had James Gunn, though, because James Gunn was supposed to run the entire space aspect of everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, a white guy being the bad guy is like the way to go. Now,
we love that. We love that.
That's we class it as slightly strange feature of modern day Marvel, which is that the actors they cast to play the villains are more villainous than the villains themselves.
They're
piggybacking off of that Namor news. They are method acting, yes. Because what's his name?
Method casting.
Is in some trouble as well, alongside Jonathan Majors.
Majors, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 2 already. There's a few more to go. I'm expecting a downfall meme at some point if it's Kevin Feige just saying, "Can you just find me one of them who hasn't abused someone? Like one non-rapist." That would
get me Ezra Miller.
It's not method acting.
We're casting Ezra as Spider-Man.
It's method casting. Method casting.
Harvey Weinstein as Doctor Doom.
Actually, brilliant. Get him on the phone.
I find myself like not even like someone said they could have done do more after like during Wakanda or like set it off, but like I find myself not even wanting them to do good storylines like that simply because I know they're about to do a giant reset because that's what they're doing with the multiverse shit. So it's like I don't even want them to set up like Norman or Doom because it's just all going to be wiped in like I don't know 10 years or 6 years or whatever. So it's like it.
Well, we don't know that for a fact though.
Oh man, we all know where this is all leading. All the multiverse stuff is they're trying to get as much distance as they can from Robert Downey Jr. so they can be like, look, guys, we rebooted it. And now there's a new Iron Man. And you don't got to be mad because Robert Downey Jr. was still Iron Man, but this is a new universe and we have a different one now. And please give us your money, please.
Yeah, and there's barely anything to follow anymore. So they have to do a reboot at something or at some point. I can't speak. They have Spider-Man, but that's a Sony thing, so Disney's at the whims of Sony. So,
well, I'm just curious how Kraven's going to play out this summer.
Kraven,
the movie?
No, it's rated R. Yeah. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, me too. He's one of my favorite viilans.
Is there a trailer for that? I don't think there is, right?
Not yet.
No,
it's like
they finished filming like almost a year ago, though.
It's not like they don't even have like a real trailer.
I heard he was
like a teaser,
activist or something. Like he was a pedo, not a pedo.
A
PETA.
He's a pedo activist.
It's something to do with animals, which I thought was funny because he hunts.
That would be PETA, not pedo.
Pedo. He's a pedo activist. You heard of maps?
Pedos to save the world.
PETA isn't much better than pedo, just so you're aware.
It's pronounced Pedro for anyone of monetization who's listening. We're not talking about the bad stuff at all.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, is that who's playing him? I think that's his name. I fucking love that dude. Like Bullet Train. I know not everybody loved Bullet Train, but
I liked Bullet Train.
Him and Brian. I can't remember that dude's name. There's so many Brian, multiple names.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic chemistry. So entertaining. Yeah. It
was really good.
And he's fucking huge. It blows my mind that that's the dude that played Kick-Ass, and now he's just like a wall.
He was really young when he played Kick-Ass, if I recall correctly. And he was already fairly by Kick-Ass 2, he was already pretty big. He actually grew a significant amount between those movies, and they weren't that far apart. I can imagine that, you see him next to guys like Hemsworth and you're like, okay, fine. But then you see him next to someone else and you're like, oh yeah, he's a pretty big dude.
Personal trainer will do that for you.
Yeah, a lot of money and personal chefs and trainers and a
little bit of juice.
Just a lot of injections. A lot of injections. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he's young enough, so he probably doesn't need injections unless it's.
He doesn't look like he's on. Yeah,
unless he needs on roids.
Yeah. You've seen Hugh Jackman though.
Oh, that's
Jackman.
He can fucking say that he's not on steroids all he wants. You are not that old. Your testosterone's so low, dude. There's no fucking way that you got that big without roids. Get out of here. You guys are lying.
People are making memes of his steroids in his closet finally getting picked out, and it was like the Toy Story meme where the aliens are in the big crane machine and they're like, should I chosen?
I have been chosen.
It's like, hey boys, my friends, called to do another Wolverine movie.
When that one comes out, I'll have to do my mutton chops for that. When that I'll show up on the show just fully Wolverined out.
Jabba the Hutt.
Ronald McDonald.
Yeah. Ronald McDonald. That's what I was going
to say. I mean, there is actually that's probably not the best because there's actually play places inside of McDonald's that are encouraged to get kids to move around. So
she's not even eating the apple slices.
I thought we're getting away from the pedo stuff.
Well, speaking of
Lizzo can't chase them because she can't fit in the tubes.
That's what they hide. No, she has the tubes, if anything. Away then from the slightly strange areas. And speaking of people who are too old to be doing stuff.
Indy 5.
Indy 5. We haven't done that. We've touched on it. I mentioned the fact that I think the comparative figures are Kingdom of the Crystal Skull made $100 million over its opening weekend, and Indy 5 is predicted to do at most 65 over a 5-day holiday opening.
15 years later.
Not exactly encouraging. Is anybody here actually looking forward to the film, and why do we think that the answer is no?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I am.
I'm excited.
Because hopefully it's the nail in Kathleen Kennedy's coffin.
Is anybody looking forward to the film as a film, as opposed to which old hags it might see out of a job?
Monetary reasons.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I'm going to get a bunch of views from ripping into it, so I'm pretty excited for that.
True.
The only reason I'm sitting through it, so.
Also looking forward to that, but as a film itself, is anyone actually looking forward to it?
I actually don't know what it's about. That's the thing.
It's about a dial that has something to do with destiny. Come on, you haven't been paying attention.
Indiana Jones.
Time travel.
Joke about
time
capitalism.
Travel.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Actually, it's about Phoebe Waller-Bridge. That's what it's about.
Yes, that's what.
Can I just? I'm gonna say the most just awful thing that I've ever said on this stream. I'm about to get trashed by chat, but I really like Fleabag, and it bums me out a lot that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is so insufferable now, because if you ever go and watch that show, it is really well written and she is actually fucking funny, and she's not anymore. That makes me sad.
I had never heard of it until recently, so it's like at this point I'm like, do I really want to go watch it though?
It's good. It's up there with some of my favorite TV that I've ever watched. It's short and sweet because Brits actually know when to end shit. It doesn't just drag on endlessly, which is, I don't know. Someone says they love Fleabag, so I don't feel that bad.
So we tend to run out of money. That's the problem. So we can't carry things on. But if we had like American money, then we'd just carry on forever.
Just
print
I think more.
From what I remember, it's just print more. That's what everybody else does. Yeah, that's a good idea. I remember season 1 of Fleabag being okay. I think season 2 lost me a bit. Same thing with Killing Eve. I thought season 1 was good and season 2 onwards was not so good. But we probably covered it on this stream before and certainly elsewhere. I think that's probably the reason Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in Hollywood to begin with, is that she had these early successes. The early successes weren't just feminist comedy either. She's a woman who can make men laugh, and that's a rare achievement. And so she was brought on and given all of these top gigs, and now she's kind of stagnant, but Hollywood is stagnant. It's the reason Simon Pegg is still hanging around. He's brought in because he's a nerd who can turn nerd things into big money productions. And then over time, he goes from consulting on Star Trek to having a significant writing role in Star Trek Beyond. And that's the point at which you think maybe you shouldn't be in Hollywood anymore because this is garbage. But that's not how Hollywood works. It's a big nepotistic club.
Agreed.
Yep.
Mic drop. Good night, everybody.
I need that sound effect.
Honestly, I don't think anybody could top that. So we all just backed off. I was like, okay, cool.
From the reviews I've seen, I'm actually like, it's blowing my mind that they thought it was a good idea to show the movie like a month early at what is it, Cannes Festival?
Yeah,
like
I think that was intentional.
Whose decision that was?
You think?
I think Iger
movie bad?
did that. Yeah, I think it's to literally put the noose around Kathleen Kennedy's neck.
Damn.
Metaphorically speaking, not literally.
These companies.
I mean, that's a lot of. You need a lot of news
guys in Minecraft.
Speaking of neck,
there's not enough rope out there for that one.
The fucking gator neck.
Yeah, I have a friend who's really hyped for that, and I want to go see. I want to go see it with him just so I can just tear the movie apart afterward, and he'll just be sobbing in the corner as I'm just ripping it apart.
Just leave Harrison Ford alone, man. Like,
no kidding.
Stop offering him so much money because he's obviously going to say yes, but like he's old.
He's going to die. Like he got recasted. He got recast for a Marvel role, and
he survived 4 plane crashes. He might actually be immortal. He might need all the money he can get.
He looks good too, man. Did you see that behind the scenes photo from like the Captain and like Captain whatever the fuck new Captain America movie?
New World Order, or now it's Whole New World.
He doesn't age. It actually blows my mind. He's got like a jawline like he's 25 still. Like, dude.
He's got that thing that you chew for half an hour every day to keep the jawline tight. That's what he's doing.
It's fun. It's fun being in the middle. Okay.
That was random.
Do I got some on my face or something?
No, normally
it's the internet. You're only ever 2 clicks away from Bukaki.
I was going to say you're surrounded by 6 people. Normally, like the color is backwards. You're the lone black friend, and normally it's 6 blacks and 1 white.
I know. They put me in the middle so they can all claim that I'm their black friend. You know, and they all got shit.
Wow. You know? You're the Kevin Bacon of this.
A one-tile racism shield. That's a good one.
6 degrees of bag face.
Not on my bag face.
Yeah, you thought it was bag as in like paper bag. No. That's not the bag that's on my face. I'm kidding.
Yeah, back to indie though. Like,
anyway, back on topic.
Speaking of mopping up,
old testicles, let's get back there.
Yeah, back to Harrison. Doomcock has had he's been on this beat for like a year and a half about the rumors of like deleting Indiana Jones with this strange Dial of Destiny technology and like time traveling through ancient Rome and all kinds of crazy things. And you know, the entire plan, and it's like not only is the Force female, but Indy is also female. And Fleabag, I forget the actress's real name.
Phoebe
Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, yes. She was she was meant to take over the role, and that would go into a Disney Plus show where she makes things right and puts all the artifacts back that Indy and all white men ever took. throughout history. But
oh no,
Iger supposedly saw like an early cut of it with Kennedy, and he was just like, "You need to fix this." And then she was like, "Okay, give me another year," and he said, "No." So I'm positive he was just like, "We're gonna put this in can a month ahead of time, and this is going to bomb." And you're not going to like. There was bad.
You're not going to hide.
Yeah, Doomcock talked about how like she might even lose like the golden parachute of getting like bought out of her contractor when she gets fired. She's supposed to get a bunch of money, and like there's possibility that she'll even lose that, which would be spectacular because she killed Luke Skywalker.
The great irony of like the concept of having someone take all of the artifacts and put them back is actually putting them back into a situation where they're more likely to end up in the hands of someone who will like try like not use them right. Like Indy would basically go and take things to get them in museums to prevent them from being taken by like, you know,
Nazis.
Someone who just wanted Nazis or or even before that, even when he was doing, you know, it was to get it out of the hands of even like people who would steal it to sell it on like a black market or something just to make profit. You know, like that's the whole concept of what he's doing, is that he was making sure that it was preserved for its historical nature. And if she was to reverse all that, you're doing the exact opposite.
If we're going to reverse it, in theory, Phoebe Waller-Bridge character is a Nazi agent trying to bring back the Third Reich in the past and prove that they're victorious. This is a pro-Nazi film, in theory. I think we're onto it.
We're trying to sell a book, John. What are you doing?
We're gonna get some eyeballs here.
I honestly thought we were starting out with that today.
Out of all the Doomcock rumors, I kind of believe that one, only because it seems really weird that they'd set up this giant time travel premise and then have the movie end up like, hey, we did all that time travel, but we're right back where we started. It feels like the intention was to be like, we're going to go back and reset all the wrongs of the Indiana Jones movies. And someone along the way was like, you're going to fucking what? Like, please don't. But maybe that would have been the better thing to do. At least people would have been so shocked that they might have went and seen it out of morbid curiosity. But now it just seems like it's nothing. Like it's just a sad Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I was gonna say like broken marriage, Harrison Ford too.
Oh, poor guy.
There's that like famous joke about how like if you remove Indy from Raiders of the Lost Ark, the movie plays out the exact same way. So like if they were to just erase him from it, it'd be like, okay, well that movie is completely untouched. Because basically he doesn't. If he didn't go and find the Ark first, the Nazis would have found it and died. So it ends up the same exact situation.
That's actually a pretty interesting point. That's kind of true, though.
That's like a old like joke about it, that he actually does, his existence in the film doesn't matter.
That's fun. That is a great movie. And then I was always particular. I was always particular for Temple of Doom, because I think I was just a little bit older when that one came out versus Raiders. But Raiders holds up really well. It's fun, especially the special effects at the end where everyone's face is melting and all the spirits and stuff are spilling around.
That's still such a great scene to this day. But that's the thing. Even if they did erase Indy from history, you'd still get that scene. So there you go. You could be happy knowing that is a nexus point in history. The Nazis get melted by the Ark of the Covenant, no matter what happens.
It's a canon event.
And then the Scarlet Witch steps out.
What's weird?
Well,
no, you go, Platoon.
No. I was going to move us on, but you have something to say, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, it seemed like the whole point of Indiana Jones and the reason that the franchise did so well in the first place was it's like very fun. That was kind of the point of it. It's like bad guys lose. We have a lot of fun along the way. And then they're trying to turn it into some weird, like, political message of actually doing the right thing. It's like that's there can be movies that have that basis and that do that kind of thing, but that's not the point of this franchise. The point of this franchise is dumb fun. Give me some dumb adventure
Nazis.
Fun. Yeah, we'll punch some Nazis. We're gonna shoot
the old ones. The old ones are not without message and universalist politics, but their message is history is good, Nazis are bad, women with tits are nice, and action heroes are fun. That's it. You don't really need to get much more complex than that. Though I think, is it Temple of Doom is the darker one with the hearts getting ripped out and stuff?
Yes.
And I think I read somewhere that the only real reason for that massive tonal shift is that George Lucas was getting a divorce at the time, and so he was just in a really bad mood. And that's why Indy 5 is... Oh, sorry, Indy Temple of Doom even is...
Was it George Lucas or was it Spielberg who was getting the divorce?
I think it was Lucas at the time.
Because Spielberg ended up marrying the woman who was... Yeah, he ended up marrying the woman who played... the blonde woman from Temple of Doom.
Oh, really?
Catherine.
Yeah, I forget her.
Is it Catherine? I think it's Catherine.
Yeah, I don't remember the actual actress's name. Hold on, let's see.
That's how she got the role.
No,
your way to the top.
Come on,
Kate Capshaw.
Listen, these women are really good at investing.
But yeah, so I mean, maybe they were both going through divorces at the time. That would be pretty.
Well, no, I mean, it sounds like Steven Spielberg was about to get hitched up with someone, and George Lucas was going through a divorce at the time. So, anyway, that is the theory I have read for why. Yeah, that tone is much darker and arguably a bit more vindictive. It wasn't really the heart on the screen he wanted torn out. It was his own heart being torn out by an evil woman who, we can sympathize, I suppose. Yeah, I guess if there's women are bad. That's why there's none of them on the panel. So
this is a high tea podcast right now.
I guess closing off Indy 5 stuff, the one thing I'm looking forward to is that it's a good excuse to go back and watch the original 3, which I'm looking forward to doing for all the reaction clips, for the review that will inevitably be terrible. So that'll be nice. But we've been ripping on other people's stuff. We've been talking comics. We've been demonstrating and talking about how not to do films, artworks, and all the rest of that. We're going to do something different for the final section of this podcast because we have a couple of people on who are currently making their own replacement. So I guess this is the point at which we turn this over to the Desolate Soul Studios podcast because you guys have released a comic and there is a run, a backing run going on Indiegogo. I'm posting the link in the chat as we speak, and I will pin that as well at the top for anyone who wants to learn more about it. But to kick us off, do you want to explain to us the premise? Like, what are we expecting from Atlas of Cydonia?
So the type of story to in a super nutshell is I would describe it as having the eldritch horror of a Lovecraft story. Then you combine that with the epic fantasy of a Lord of the Rings. And then visually, we're going to present it in a manga art style. So there's going to be all kinds of terrible monsters, obviously, because Cthulhu is spectacular. And we'll have the classic good versus evil of Lord of the Rings. That's that epic fantasy. And then manga art is so great. And one of the things that I've recently come to fall in love with manga is... not all, obviously, but so many, you take a Dragon Ball Z or Demon Hunter, you have these really long, complicated stories with, all the characters have really great character arcs, and you can explore the world and the action / violence of manga is always really top notch. But one thing we should do before I get too into it, let's go back up to the top Platoon and play our trailer.
I got it.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a trailer.
Yeah. so there you go. That's our trailer. And a major portion of our trailer there takes place in the first age of our story. So our book is broken down into like kind of a prologue, introductory act, then the main body of the story, and then a little trailer just to, tease something in the future in the next book. And this image here and the previous ones in the trailer take place during what you could call like the first age of this world, kind of like the Silmarillion of Tolkien. And it's this period of time called the Theotitanomachy, which is Greek for War of the Gods and Titans. And it's this Highlander-esque time period that
you're breaking up there, John. You're breaking up there,
John. It's not
John.
defined. Like time doesn't really exist for them because there's just constant combat. Now here we have sorry about that. There's some buffering. So this is Sky, and he's battling the great evil of the world. And that's who in the trailer we saw him kind of evolving, and he had this like the man getting consumed by the darkness, and he's one of these gods who evolves over time, and then basically through his greed he wants to try to consume the world. And this dragon is a guardian of that world, and obviously he's going to try to save the day. But then if we can scroll down, so then here we have Orin, and this is the principal, not a good god of the world, and he circles the planet as like a ring around Saturn, and he provides magic to the world that people can access, because obviously it's high fantasy, so there's magic. But he is we love the Asian influence. Obviously we're doing a manga style, and I love the Asian dragon as something that represents divinity. Yeah, and then some inspirations that we have for this book are Star Wars. Oh, this is a really popular piece of art. Everybody really raves about what Jay did here.
Let's just talk about the three main characters of the book.
Oh, sure.
There's the three main characters of the book that are defending Cloud Peak, which Lagotha is obviously the evil that lurks in the darkness. And he gets in the hearts of men, and he gets in the heart of a necromancer called Kadim, and Kadim is doing he's set on a path to conquer Cloud Peak for his god Lagotha. And the August King and his protector, his general protector, Masato Kana, who's the samurai, are protecting Cloud Peak. And in this story, we're going to learn about how it all plays out. Does Masato Kana and the August King survive and defend Cloud Peak, or does Kadim get successful and conquer Cloud Peak and do his will for Lagotha? It's a very deep, thrilling story. It's a dark manga. I kind of infused the North American style of comics and blended it with the manga style and come up with a kind of like a different take. And it's 62 pages. It is black and white. We do have some prints that are going to be available if we reach the $10,000 goal and the $15,000 goal. You have 3 covers that you can buy, and you can buy all 3 covers. There's a wraparound cover, there's the black main cover, and then there's the virgin cover by our friend Corey Barton there with the August King on the front. And then you can buy all 3, and it's all very reasonable priced. You can get it all for, well, if that's Canadian, you can get it all for under $30 in American.
If you buy all 3, you can get them delivered almost anywhere in the world for $60 American, basically, which is a pretty good deal. But that's not including delivery.
Oh, gotcha.
So there's an additional like $15 shipping.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think Indiegogo is $15 shipping.
Oh yeah, that's this is the one that I bought, was the all 3 covers. Yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then one thing I would add to this particular book is it serves as both an epilogue and a prologue, because it takes place in this time period where there's great change happening in the world. So we open up with that period of time where there's all the gods and titans, and it just sets the scene, like as Jay was talking about. We introduce Lagotha. He's like the great evil of the world, and all the fallout from him. But then after Lagotha retreats, which we saw in the trailer, there's this 10,000 year period, because I love Tolkien and all the ridiculous time frames.
Of course.
There's these 10,000 years where war basically passes from the gods to men. And eventually you get to the end of that 10,000 years, and this august king, he's kind of like a throwback to like the first race of men who would live like for hundreds of years. And he rules the city of Cloud Peak for 300 years, providing them like peace and prosperity. And the story starts at the tail end of his 300 years. And you have this evil necromancer, Kadim, marching his forces. And this is very much inspired by Xerxes in 300, where the crazy army is marching against the Spartans. So he has this almost limitless army closing in on the city, and the king has to make the choice of, do I, bend the knee as some counselors are advising? And because, people are afraid, and it's that darkness in the hearts of men concept that we're exploring and playing with. But then when he turns to his general, the samurai, and the samurai is bound to serve. So the story will really take off from there, with the conflict between the immovable object, which is the city, and the unstoppable force, which is the necromancers' nearly limitless army. Like, I think in the write-up I have, I describe it as millions, and that's not wrong. He's basically Kadim, that has essentially conquered the entire world, and that's that epilogue feel of this book, where this time period that has come before is coming to an end. And it's coming into that final conflict on the mountain of Cloud Peak, which is this a sacred place in the world. We'll leave it at that. Lots of high magic, lots of spectacular combat and action scenes. Jay's been absolutely killing it with his artwork. I mean, he has that one double splash page of the dragon battling Lagotha, the tentacle monster.
That's a selling point right there. Like, that's definitely use that in your advertisements, because I
think it would be a cool t-shirt.
Yeah. And so Jay is the artist that's bringing John's story to life. Jay is a really, really good artist. I know from some experience that it's difficult to transition from one style to another. And they are doing manga. And it's really cool to see someone actually if you're going from one style to another, you're probably not going to emulate it completely. So it's almost like you have something that's a mix of both, and it makes it even more unique. So I just really appreciate that, especially working outside of your comfort zone. I really
appreciate that.
Yeah,
I felt like I was failing with the art until Saturday. John messaged me and said there's a video out of Atlas of Cydonia, and this girl is raving about the artwork and saying how beautiful it is, and it was just it gave me the spark, because I was like, I think I failed at this, and people are like, no, you're like, and I'm like, you're just being nice, like, I appreciate that, but the people are actually enjoying the art, and I'm happy that they're enjoying the art, and well, thank you, Fesquishti. Yeah, I'm trying to do the Frank Miller thing, where he's not afraid to go outside the box and explore, and I really admire that. And bad or good, I mean, there's I actually should bring up the one I penciled that I just sent.
Yeah, for sure. If you put it in the chat, I should be able to screen share. But a couple of pieces that I just think are absolutely key pieces, like amazing selling points. This one in particular is just it looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And this one, who is your protagonist, again, just a fantastic piece. So
thank you.
Kudos to you on the artwork. It's really something.
Yeah, I mean, it's the huge array of inspirations, which is the thing, because we talked about this a couple of times, and if anyone's interested, so Desolate Soul Studios on YouTube also, so you will have the launch stream, and I know we talked about it a bit when I was on your channel the first time as well, but the thing that always struck me about it, besides the fact that it's so huge in scope and in time, and that you've got so much world building that goes into it, and I'm a sucker for world building. Like, you talk to me about lore and I get erections, so this is my kind of thing. But the huge array of inspirations, which I think is the most interesting thing, and it comes across from like, from the art style as well. So obviously, as has been discussed, you're transitioning from a background in much more Western oriented art to much more sort of manga traditional stuff. And that innovation, which creates, and I understand being your own worst critic, but you see flaws where other people see innovation, and innovation really comes from flaw. It's the imperfect representation of something you've striven for, which creates a new thing overall. And that's not just true of the art, that's true of what I've heard of the storyline and the world building and the lore that goes into that. There's this huge mix of Western fantasy, Eastern fantasy. You've got obviously very sort of Oriental style dragons, and you've got very sort of Game of Thrones style politics, and you've got everything in between. Which makes it just such a fascinating proposition. So, like, obviously, we've talked about it a lot, and the more I hear about it, the more I want to read it. And now, so when can we expect the first of these to come, and how many are there coming after that?
I will have it all penciled and done this summer, and it'll be out. We put it for, I think, was it
April of 2024,
April, but it's going to be out way. It's going to be out way before that. We did that just as a buffer in case, life does happen, things happen to people. I know I was sick and I was down and out for like 8 weeks, and I felt guilty. I just wanted to draw and get things done, but I just had no energy. But yeah, it'll probably be out, I would say, this fall, late fall, early winter for sure.
Hopefully for Christmas. That would be ideal.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's our first campaign, so we wanted to give ourselves that buffer just to make sure that all the ducks are lined in a row and everything will be good with the printer and then our shipping, and we just don't want to have any hiccups and be late on this first campaign. But insofar as future books, we're super humble and really ambitious. So I like to frame this as, imagine you had the opportunity to get a Star Wars comic before George Lucas created Star Wars, and you could get in on the ground floor of that level. That's what we're trying to produce. Like, I love the long form storytelling, whether it's epic fantasy novels, or you take like a show like Avatar: The Last Airbender, or like the Clone Wars series, which had 7 seasons and well over 100 episodes. But we're looking at producing, in a dream world, probably 100 books, and it'll explore the breadth of Cydonia, and every book would be a standalone story that you could enjoy, I would say, but it's all serving a larger narrative. And one of the things that I really take a lot of pride in is the character development, and actually having good character arcs for the people that exist in the world that are caught in the great moments that define time. And we're trying to focus on this first book and just getting it done, but my brain doesn't operate like that. I'm always scheming.
It doesn't.
On,
it really
on
doesn't.
the next thing. I've been in contact with a couple of other artists for the next book that I want to put out. It's like a short story concept book, but we're not going to discuss that because we need to focus on the first Atlas. Look at Chase. He's like, totally, oh my god. Yeah. It's that with I think we discussed it when you guys were on our show, where it's like the world builder's disease. I can't just stop and be happy with what we've got. There's always the next book that we need to discuss. But I think that's the fun of epic fantasy, because you get this big world, and our primary motive is to produce a story that is universal and hopefully stands the test of time and doesn't get caught in, the fashionable trends that occupy like modern Hollywood today and modern storytelling. And like Jay said earlier, this is the first book, and it is super affordable if you're in the US and pretty much worldwide, actually, except for Ukraine, Russia, and North Korea. You can order Atlas of Cydonia, and it'll get to you for approximately $30 US, which is a pretty good deal. And there will be other add-ons that we're going to be adding to the campaign. But, $30 for an original 62-page book delivered to you. So, and also, I would like to add, if anybody who is interested in Atlas of Cydonia, please tweet at Putin, Zelensky, or whatever the Ukraine leader's name is, and Kim Jong-un.
And Kim Jong-un, yes.
And tell them to straighten shit out in their countries so that their citizens can also purchase Atlas of Cydonia. And,
still working on that North Korean distribution model there. Yeah,
we will, maybe Atlas of Cydonia brings world peace.
That's right.
You guys are going to compliment the world, it'll be fine.
Actually, it's real easy to break into the market in North Korea. Just make a version where Kim Jong-un just defeats everybody.
Yeah, make him the hero.
He's the dragon.
Hero.
He walks in with a gun and just shoots everyone dead.
I will say this, by the way. I mean, you like, as you were talking, you are the kind of guys that the comic industry needs right now. There's the indie, people making indie projects to offset the big two. I mean, obviously there's Image and there's other like independent distributors, but like, it's pretty much the two that control everything, and both of them pretty much suck right now for the most part. So to have an injection of fresh ideas coming from independent creators such as yourselves is exactly what the industry needs. And I love the concept of melding the two, like East and West comic styles. Cynic, what did I say to you like right away? The first thing I noticed was that. I was like, this is so cool. It's got a little bit of something for everybody right there. You guys could actually end up creating like something that could kind of be like a gap, like a bridge that gaps the two in a sense. People who are more into Western comics might look at it and be like, oh, maybe I can get into manga, and vice versa. And I think that if there's more creators doing something like that, you might actually not have such a big divide between the two. And those are two things I thought of right away.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I mean, it's, cool. George Lucas has been mentioned, and one of his, great successes is in taking these inspirations, the very, very Western style Western film, combining it with the very traditional Kurosawa style samurai film. And you've got Buddhism that comes in to infuse the lore and the world building and the religious aspect of the thing. And you've got the basic hero's journey, which is fundamental to most Western literature. And you've got a few narrative tricks that come in, which are much more grounded in the East. And it creates this brilliant, very universally appreciable and approachable thing. Which is very distinct as well, because that's really where most new ideas come from. Invention is a massively overrated thing. Very few completely unique ideas are any good. But when you can combine lots and lots of old, well-established, trusted ideas in a brand new way that no one's ever done before, that's what makes it interesting. And that's what creates something that is universally approachable appeal, and it has universal appeal as well. And it's the thing that's always stuck out, because as I say, we've talked about this a couple of times, and that's that mix and meld of cultures to create something brand new is probably the most appealing thing to me. And I know nothing about comics, so the fact that you've got me interested in a comic, so that's more than most people can say.
I'm going to make you help me write a comic. What are you talking about?
Then you have to match these guys' appeal.
And I would love to help you with the art.
Cynic, I have some ideas I could pitch you. I have plenty of ideas.
I got my rights back to my comic.
Oh, nice.
I am today's been a terrible fucking day. But I woke up to an email from my publisher saying like, okay, I can have it back at the end of June. And I was like, fucking yes. And then the day went downhill, but I own the rights to my book again. And
nice.
Good. Now I'll buy it.
That's
I wasn't going to buy it until you had the rights back.
I mean, that is also a fascinating premise, but like, I don't know how much of that you want to give away before you get to work on the second one. So like, spoil away as you like, but I won't spoil it for you.
Just buy it. That's all you need to know. Just buy it.
No, because it's what I'm taking my book, and you and I are going to redo it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
I do have just one more thing to say about the art. One of my favorite artists out there right now is Sean Phillips. He works a lot with Ed Brubaker, and I don't know if either of you guys have ever read Fatale, his series with the two of them. If you don't got to pull up the pictures, but like some of the more like as you were saying, like the Cthulhu inspired kind of stuff, like the like Lovecraftian stuff, really reminds me of Fatale, which Sean Phillips really saved that book, because that was like a very rare miss for Ed Brubaker for me, but like Sean Phillips' art really saved it, and like the fact that I look at that and I go, hey, that reminds me of something that saved a book is so like awesome that like it, and I know I'm like 99.9% certain you didn't go, hey, I want to emulate Fatale, but but like the fact that that it like has that cool that like like you said, Lovecraftian look is pretty awesome. I like that about that.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that so much. I'm kind of in awe right now, but I've read comics. Oh, go ahead, Bad Guys.
I just wanted to like a quick. I'm always curious because I've done like a little bit of world building and writing. I like help some friends with a comic. And do you ever find like as you spread out your world and your rules and you kind of move further down your story from where you're at, do you ever find yourself backtracking and like adding in things or reworking? Yeah, that's
yeah, for sure. So for me,
come hang out with John. Come hang out with John for a day.
Yeah,
and then ask that question.
Oh, can you draw this back?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
I feel sometimes I feel bad for Jay. Then I remember that this is his
no,
dream.
You don't. No, you do not. Like, don't lie to the audience.
It's true. I am lying right now. But this book has been, or I shouldn't say the book. The story itself has been in development for over 25 years. So there's been constant rehashing and trying to get things sorted out. And one of the things that resonated with me for actually being able to complete it was you need to have your point A and your point B of the story. So you need that beginning and the end. And of course you can have like a prologue or then an epilogue to it, but you have to understand how the story ends, whether it's, 100 graphic novels like we have planned out, or, a series of novels. If you don't have that end goal, I think you're going to end up like George R.R. Martin and end up writing yourself into corners because you're just wandering around not knowing what you're doing. But we have a purpose and the destination. And as Little Platoon spoke, like we're exploring the hero's journey, and the future books will have like different heroes. And there's going to be the hope is we'll have opportunities for like three book issues or storylines where we explore an aspect of the world that might resonate with the reader more than what we've presented in the past. And all the while we'll have that main storyline building up. And one of my favorite things to explore is the dichotomy between the civilizations of the world and then the wild places of the world. And if over time those are going to come together and they're going to smash together and come to a head, and everything will like blow up, and not a reset per se, but those two things are coming together. I always compare it to like the Greek mythology of you have the city states where, one god rules that city state, and there's all kinds of problems happening within the walls of it. And obviously that's all basically the corruption of men and power, which is great stuff to use for story building and conflict building. But then when you go outside of the city walls, now you live in the realms of monsters and the gods themselves. And now people are just a plaything. Like I remember on my honeymoon, my wife and I were in Turkey, and we were at the location. I think we were close to the original or the true Mount Olympus, and up a hike, like maybe 5K, was the lair of the Chimera. Like the literal Chimera of Greek mythology lived up this hill. And what was it? It was a vent of natural gas that was on fire. Not even big, just little bit of fire coming out of the ground. And as we're walking, I'm like, can you imagine like 3,000 years ago, like crazy dudes who would just be so ripped and covered in armor would be peeing themselves because they're coming up here to slay the monster. And that's like, that's something that we want to play with, where you think it's a monster, but is it a monster? And then of course, at the end of the day, there's this tentacle horror living in the center of the world that wants to steal your soul.
It's a great blend. Yeah, the natural and the supernatural is a really, really beguiling mix. Certainly if you can leave like certain parts of it ambiguous as well, where you can understand where the interpretation comes from. And the interpretation and the reality overlap but don't match. And that's it's a really, really rich territory for lore building. And then, yeah, as you said, the culture clash between sort of civilized city life where everything is politics and the world outside the walls where everything is natural and the gods rule probably more than they do in the cities is fascinating. It's one of the things. Mary Renault did a historical trilogy of the life of Alexander the Great, and that's one of the backstory elements she adds in, is that obviously he's the son of the king of Macedon, but he feels he's being held back. He's not being allowed to advance to his proper station. He goes out and just disappears into the wilderness and fights wolves, and accidentally ends up leading this village in defense against barbarians. takes the head of a man at the age of 9 and is then held up as a demigod, and he earns his godhood after that with his big conquest. But it all starts in the backwaters of the wilderness of ancient Greece. And yeah, I mean, there's so much rich territory to explore there. But the link for all of this is pinned in the comments at the moment. It's in the description of this stream. Obviously, this will be unlisted eventually and re-uploaded on the second channel, where the link will also be in the description there. So if any of this has interested you, you will be able to find a quick link to it. And there is more information, of course, on the Desolate Souls Studios YouTube channel, where we've streamed a couple of times and where you've got more content on this as well. So anyone interested, and I recommend you take an interest, go and have a look. But just conscious of the time, because we have to run to another stream in about half an hour, and we have a few super chats to get through. So I propose we move on to those. If anyone desperately needs to go, now is your opportunity to run away. Just let us know beforehand, because we can plug your channel before you go. But otherwise, I think we can move on to those. So if we kick off with Svictor 1 for 50, I'm going to guess Swedish krona. Thank you very much, sir, or madam. Recommend you watch Clone High 2023, made by the producers from Across the Spider-Verse. The show is Velma level. No one is covering it. Wait, so you recommend we watch something that's as good as Velma?
God.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the premise for that show is it is clones of a bunch of historical figures all go to high school together.
Yeah, it's like a rehash of like a early 2000s cartoon.
Lord and Miller are not on crack, but also on crack at the same time when making stuff. Like one of their ideas was Gandhi, except he's so pressured by the expectations of being the great Gandhi that we know that he just becomes like a frat bro. And that did not go well in India. India was very mad at that. So, yeah.
Actually, the tagline for the show could be "They both were and were not on crack." That's a good selling point. We have another one from the same person, from Svidka 1, for 50 Swedish, I'm going to say krona again. I don't understand why Disney don't make animated movies with male protagonists. Treasure Planet is to this day one of the best Disney products made. True.
It's the reason I got a palm tattoo. It was just put in my head when I was so young.
Really?
Oh yeah, I loved how that shit looked. It's like, yo, I want that. I want that. But you know, you can't have like lights in your palm apparently as an adult. It doesn't happen. So I did the next best thing.
Well, there's body modifications now. Just get some LEDs put inside your palm, and there you go.
Cut off your arm and then just get a replacement and just wrap that thing in LEDs.
Just a tube light.
Yeah. Is Platoon talking? He's muted.
Sorry, no, I muted myself when I was trying to put up another one, which disappeared, and I think I accidentally got rid of it. So whoever that was,
was it animated mouth
was it Tainith Scholar?
No, Tainith Scholar is here, but a man of few words. But thank you, nevertheless, for the 20 euros. Moving on again, then. Blue Collar Loser. Who wants DarkHour? Would you like to take this one for us?
Set the super chat to drink your moments before DarkHour hit 1,000, the 1,000 mark. Thanks to Platoon for helping him as well. And don't forget Movie Cynic. You're part of the reason DarkHour is going. And I very much appreciate everything that they've done for me, and I will continue to appreciate it. And it's definitely it was such a crazy moment that just shows just how powerful someone with 2 million subscribers can be when they just go, hey, go subscribe to this guy. We're not leaving until there's 1,000. It took about 13 seconds.
Wow.
It was but yeah, I'm actually at 1,700 now, I believe, because he did the re-upload. So that got another boost. So now I just need to get to the hours and then I can monetize.
Yeah,
I subscribed.
Weirdly enough, you've done the hard bit, which is getting the subscribers. And now you need to do the content bit, which is all your own Steam. So more of that. Yeah. Just while we've got you there, what content are you doing, and why should people who are here subscribe to you?
Well, as I've said in the past, I like to do fight scene analysis as well as I do more contemporary reviews, but they don't seem to get much attention. It seems like my fight scene analysis tends to. I actually have one coming out at the exact same time as when you guys are on that other stream, so I feel bad plugging it. But I set a premiere for basically 45 minutes from now. So if anybody's
traitor,
I didn't realize you guys were going to be on another stream. I didn't know that was going to happen. And if anybody's tired, I've also been told that my voice works well to put you to sleep. So that could be a useful way to get some hours up there as well. So
I'm never sure how to take it. I've had a few people say the same things. That I like putting you on when I go to sleep, and I'm thinking, well, does that mean I'm boring? And then other people say, well, I listen to you in bed with my husband, and I think, well,
I like to take pop shots at myself for the monotony of my voice, because I just, in my mind and like in my head, I have like there's so much inflection, and then I listen to the recording afterwards and I'm like, there's none at all. I don't know what the hell's going on with this. And I try, and the harder I try, the worse it is. So I just stopped trying. I figured it was easier to make fun of myself.
That's a good lesson for life, that one.
Yeah.
Rightio. From Accurate History for $5, Platoon, it would be interesting to hear a review of Starship Troopers, not tear apart plot holes, but the deeper political satire behind the sci-fi facade. That would be really fun to do. It's just a case of finding the time at this point, because yeah, it's Robert Heinlein, isn't it, who did Starship Troopers? Is a really, really, really weird and interesting guy. He goes from Starship Troopers, which is, okay, fairly satirical, but also in some ways genuinely kind of right-wing, to Stranger in a Strange Land, which is just unapologetic neo-hippie propaganda. Then he writes one later on. Which one is it? I always get the name of the book confused. There's one where the main character clones himself and then impregnates his female version of himself. He's a weird guy, but interesting guy. If I ever have time, that's the kind of thing I'd like to do.
Impregnate yourself?
Cynic. What?
No, actually, sorry. Yes, no, good point. No, that is not what I want to do.
I zoned up.
They call it self-husbanding. I think they call it. Cynic, this one is for you.
Our boy Hostman for $5. Blue Boy, you should promote your comic more. I didn't even realize it was already out. Jane knows a few guys who could help. Well, we'll do a dedicated stream to it when I have my fucking rights back. That is like the coolest thing ever. I own
your Mel Gibson freedom moment.
Can you see me? I'm happy.
Well, 18 more days I have my rights back. So that means that I am never going to a publisher again. Platoon and I are going to work on the story. I might find someone to help me draw, but I have a very specific way of doing the book that I think we might want to keep. But look for something before the end of the year for sure. I'm more than excited that I own my book again. And I honestly thought yesterday, I was like, oh, this is going to be another 7 years before I get my intellectual property back. It's not true. 18 days. But today was about you guys and your comic book, and we'll talk about mine in the future. So, but
on Wednesday.
Yeah.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday. On Wednesday. Yeah. I'll be talking about my book on their stream on Wednesday. But yeah,
absolutely, it'll be good fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Another $5 from Hostman. You boys won't have to worry about spam bots today. Any come along, they'll get a proper English greeting. Yeah, we were.
Yesterday
we were on Mr. Brown Alliance's stream yesterday when an innovative new spam bot occurred. Mr. Burgles, I think it is, who just wouldn't die. But they underestimated how many mods Mr. Brown has. So for other channels,
his entire chat. His entire chat is mods. He has it's a very unique chat. You can't really
if you make more than 2 comments, you're a mod now. So it's just
I genuinely don't think, because the funny thing about that bot thing, I think it's Mr. Burgles. There is a YouTube channel by that name, which reposts clips of streamers struggling to deal with their bot attacks. And I really want to see.
I do want to see this because
such a troll, dude.
He didn't win.
He didn't. I want to see the video because I genuinely don't think they anticipated that they would go onto a channel with about 100 mods out of 100 chatters.
Right. There's 100 people in the chat, and all 100 have a blue wrench.
The Mr. Brown Alliance actually has a Mr. Brown army to it. That's
Alliance.
True Alliance.
It is the Mr. Brown Alliance. Absolutely.
Spectacular.
I can take this one. Fear the Hammers for $2. Little Platoon is the best. I agree.
Burgles always wins.
Burgles always wins.
Are they
Actually, Andrew, would you like to take this one?
What? Emo Bat sucks ass through a coffee.
I mean,
as long as it's my ass, he's sucking it through, bro. It's all good.
Ooh, I want the next one.
Take it away.
Jonathan Frost for $5. Also, Ezra Miller is Boysenberry Allen. I love the word boysenberry, so I wanted that one.
Bagface, would you like this one?
Yeah, as I said, as Hostman, always Hostman. As I said the other week, the difference between me separating Roman Polanski from Chinatown and Ezra Miller from The Flash is that Chinatown is good.
Ooh, Chinatown is
pretty good.
Yeah, although not to reopen the old separating the art from the artist thing, but you have separated the art from the artist because you're judging it on the quality of the art in that example, which I'm all in favor of. Cynic, this has to be for you.
next one has to be as well.
Squishity for what is that, an Australian $2? So Kathleen Kennedy's neck. Yes, I have beef with her neck. It's kind of a running joke on Mr. Brown's show, but God, her neck is like fucking offensive to me.
Find pictures.
Well, anything that happens on Mr. Brown's show will find a way onto this show, except for.
Dude, her neck looks like, you see the new Godzilla movies? It really does look like that. It's vicious.
It just comes right from the edges of the shoulders, right up.
And I'm a neck guy. Like, I like necks. And so when I see an offensive,
going to places I wasn't expecting.
I'm just saying, like, she has the 180 to that shit.
I could ask questions, but I'm going to choose not to.
Just wait till the next one.
I've told you guys I'm a serial killer. I love necks.
John, would you like this one? MFK is marry, fuck, kill, I believe.
Okay. Marry, fuck, kill. KK's neck, Ryan Johnson, and Dylan Mulvaney. Everyone go. All right. Well, I guess my choice. I would marry Ryan Johnson so that I could fucking henpeck him for the rest of his life for the awful job he did with The Last Jedi and how dare he treat Luke like that. And then, maybe I would take KK for the F, and then Dylan will get the last.
That's the only right.
Demonetized, by the way.
Yeah. Transgenocide has now entered the chat.
I was gonna say F Dylan so you can dominate another man.
I'm gonna see if I can get Dylan pregnant. He wanted it.
That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. All right, we're moving on.
So I don't need to think about
okay.
That one.
Everyone, do not go.
I'd rather think about Kathleen Kennedy's neck.
Who haven't we done? We haven't done Jay yet. Jay, would you like this one?
You cover his face.
Hi, hello.
Take it away. It's going to be there for now. Read it, and I'll take it away.
I'm burying the Spark 7907 550 Canadian. I'm burying the John Wick meme like J4 buried its credibility. Anyhow, good video, Cynic. But what do you mean the 7 ways to tell stories?
The Transformers video. Yeah. So there are there's a theory that there's really only 7 kind of stories to tell. We don't have much time because we got to go to the other stream soon. But no, there are. It would be interesting to make a video on that. There are, in essence, like 7 types of stories to tell, and then everything else is a variation or a combination of those. But in theory, there are only 7. I can't remember all of them. But like,
is that like man versus self and stuff like that?
Yeah. That theory.
It's a weird thing. I think is it Christopher Booker? English journalist, and it's based on, I think it's based on Jungian psychoanalysis, if I remember rightly, but I don't remember what the 7 types are.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
I know that there's men versus self, men versus nature, men versus there's society is another one of them. There's only 3 I could think of right now.
Yeah.
End of
either way, it makes sense. Like when if we ever want to sit down and talk about it and analyze it, like it makes total sense, because you could be like, that story's that one. That story's that one. Okay.
Mm-hmm. A great story has multiples of those within it.
Mm-hmm.
Like where,
All right, we're gonna
Atlas
have
of Cydonia.
Power through a couple of these ones because we are pushing it right up to the
we
line.
are pushing
oh no, now I've also lost you. They were both going through divorces. That's Spielberg and Lucas from Tyler Wolf for $279 communist dollars. Thank you. I'll take your word for that. Much as we do, Johan Gambleputty of Ulm for 50. I need to bail out. In contrast to the Platoon, I need to catch some sleep, but I'm also not an AI at this rate. BSUP 50 will start just so to enjoy during breakfast here. And for us and old worlders. Yes, I agree. Another one from Johan Gambleputty of Ulm. Great seeing you guys bringing more creators on, giving them some voice, having fun with your super chats. Have fun, with your super chat session. PS, Slanesh approves this stream. Crabs, Optimus coming. Bagface, 2 clicks from.
Does this continue?
No, it doesn't.
2 clicks from Bukaki. It was the reference from before. 2 clicks from Bukaki.
Oh,
I feel like we're 1 click away now. All right.
Bukaki incoming, chat. And finally, Julio Rangel for $5. I'm that guy that reads the books in the library in any dungeons while playing video games. So I totally feel Platoon on being a lore whore. I'm all for lore whore. But if you're a lore whore, then you will like Atlas of Cydonia. So you should definitely go and check that out. And I think that brings us to the end with a couple of minutes to spare. The last thing we need to do then is to give you guys an opportunity to flout your wares. So, DarkHour, what are you doing? Where can we find you?
Okay, so my channel is DarkHour. Like I said, I'm unfortunately going up against their next stream with my my first premiere, which is a continuation of my Rocky Breakdown series. Every movie, every fight, and whatever order I feel like. If you it's only 21 minutes long, so if you guys want to watch that and then jump over to the stream, I'm not sure how it'll work out, but that could work for you guys. And that's pretty much it. I'll get that way. I'm not going to take too much time.
Nice and efficient. Actually, Andrew, what is coming up from you next, and where can we find you?
I was going to do a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse review, but the review was not good enough in my eyes, so I'm rescripting it. Because I was just missing a bunch of points that I wanted to bring up, things that I enjoyed, other criticisms that I had towards it. And I'm probably going to do that once it goes on digital, just so I can have the film in a higher quality and just watch it over and over and over again. And then, so that's been delayed. Other than that, probably going to do a Flash review once that comes out. And hopefully make fun of it a lot. So that's it.
Good stuff. Bagface, what are you doing next?
Hello, I'm Bagface. I'm Platoon's only black friend, so you can't call him racist. I've been just ripping, so I'm doing the Flash this week as well as everybody else, and I'm very close to 1,000 subs. So I really don't want a real job. Please just sub to my channel so I can eat. Cool. That's all. I like eating.
Good stuff. And I mean, you guys are on the same place, aren't you? But from the Desolate Soul Studios Productions, who wants to take us away for this one? Either of you.
I'll take us there. This is Desolate Soul Studios. We're on YouTube. We interview not only comic creators, we interview everyone in the creative field, comedians, actors, writers, anybody, really. We want to get to 1,000 subs as well. We're sitting at, I think, around 450. We just started, I wouldn't say about 6 months ago, maybe a little longer, and we've been slowly growing. We've had Little Platoon on. We're having Movie Cynic on this Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern. And the guys on the panel right now, just DM me. We'd love to have you guys on as well and promote your stuff and talk about what you've been doing. So, so yeah, tomorrow night we have a show with Chris Graves and Mark Polton. We're going to talk about Wraith and Pain. We're also going to talk about our book, two good friends of ours, and that would be pretty much it. So,
yeah, I have to say, having been
over to Indiegogo.
Get over to Indiegogo.
Atlas of Cydonia. It's the beginning of a very long story, and if you like epic fantasy and all of that fun stuff, it will be the book for you.
Good plug. No, having been on the channel a couple of times, I'd say it's one of the best, if not the best, interviews I've ever done, or like live streams I've done with you guys. You have brilliant guests, and you're really, really good at talking to them as well. So definitely check out the channel and the Indiegogo. All of these links will be in the description of the re-upload. They're all in the description now. And with exactly, I think, 3 minutes to go until we're due to be live again, that brings us to the close of this stream. The link for the next stream is now in the chat. So anyone who's got more free time, follow us along. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye, and we will see you same time next week. Have a good night, everyone.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.